Chapter 1041 The Retreat of the Abyss Lord. Outsider, you dare to break into my territory, and you dare to kill abyss monsters in front of me. I haven't eaten for a long time, and I will take you as a belly today. The Abyss Lord Enrodobas laughed cruelly. Boom. Enrodobas kicked over, and the void shattered directly. Hundreds of millions of miles of void suppressed ETN. Such terrifying strength is enough to easily obliterate a large number of half-step true ancestors, even if the true monarchs in the top of the true monarch list can leapfrog and kill true ancestors, but in front of such an existence it's just a mantra. ETN stimulated the body of the extreme way, showed all the physical strength, and then used the source supernatural power to shake the sky to meet Enrodobas. Boom. ETN flew out backwards, but Enrodobas only stepped back a few steps. This time, ETN fell into a disadvantage. Hey, an abyss monster level ant can actually block my blow. Enrodobas said in shock. As an abyss lord, he occasionally goes out of his own territory. In his impression, abyss monster level ants are simply food, and a wisp of breath can shock a group to death. But now, such ants are able to block his attack, which is simply abnormal. And ETN was also surprised by the power of the Abyss Lord. 29 How terrifying his power is. The power of the true ancestor is far inferior to him, and it can even be said that some top true ancestors are not as powerful as him. The power of the true ancestor lies in the power of the great Tao and the power of the true ancestor. Although some true ancestors can continue to practice the chaos body refinement technique, the effect is not very good. Even many true ancestors have given up tempering their bodies, and their body strength is not strong. But the body of the Abyss Lord in front of him is too terrifying. It is many times stronger than the Taoist tool, and ETN's blow failed to leave a trace on the opponent. It seems that I underestimated the Abyss Lord. No wonder the major forces in the realm are extremely jealous of the Abyss Demons. Only the real top talents can compete with the Abyss Demons above the Abyss Lord. ETN secretly said. If it weren't for the Abyss Demons having a limit, there would be no Supreme Taoist ancestors, and the Supreme Taoist ancestors would clean up the Abyss every few years, and even hunt down the Abyss Demons. Otherwise, the controller of the realm of the gods will probably become the Abyss Demon. Boom. ETN and the Abyss Lord Enrodobas kept fighting, and the battle between the two almost destroyed this area, which made Enrodobas very angry, because this was his territory. After fighting for a while, ETN also discovered a weakness of Enrodobas, that is, the speed is slower and the soul is not very strong. Therefore, ETN specially attacked the soul of Enrodobas, and then used the speed to contain the opponent, and from time to time used the air-splitting technique to attack it. In such a situation, ETN had the upper hand, but it was not enough to kill Enrodobas. The Abyss Lord was very difficult to kill, and with Enrodobas being so powerful, it was too difficult to kill him. Unless ETN is promoted to true ancestor, he won't want to kill an Abyss Lord easily. Time passes little by little. Plus, although Enrodobas would not be seriously injured, such a protracted battle also made it extremely tiresome. An ant? No, strong man, let's stop, how about it? Enrodobas said. Give up. ETN really stopped and did not continue to attack, showing a hesitant look. In fact, he didn't want to fight anymore. After all, he couldn't kill an Abyss Lord, he could only do a preliminary suppression. Such a fight was meaningless and was just a waste of time. But he can't really give up like this. Why should I give up? I have time. Unless you can give me some favors, I am willing to leave. ETN said. Greedy fellow, you want to ask for favors like the great Enrodobas. Enrodobas was furious. If he hadn't beat ETN, he really wanted to eat ETN. If you don't give it, then continue to fight. ETN said firmly. This, Enrodobas is tangled, it really doesn't want to fight, how good it is to go back to sleep. After hesitating for half a minute, Enrodobas said again, okay, I can give you some treasures, and even give you a chance, how about it? I want a treasure of harmony, do you have it? ETN asked. What kind of treasure? Enrodobas wondered. Immediately, ETN spoke out some characteristics of the harmony treasures. At this time, Enrodobas suddenly realized, so you want those Abyss Wonders? Abyssal Wonders. This is the name of the Abyss Lord to the treasures of the combined path. This title is also very reasonable. After all, it can assist the combined path. Such treasures are naturally rare in the Abyss. It's just that the treasures of the Tao are not very attractive to the Abyss Lord. They take the path of bloodline evolution. As long as the bloodline of the Abyss Lord on the body is gradually upgraded to the bloodline of the Overlord, and then the physical transformation is caused, it can directly evolve to the Abyss Overlord. As for what is the right way, what is it, they don't understand at all. It is precisely because of the lack of understanding of the great Tao that the strength of the Abyss Overlord has an upper limit, so he did not compete with the power of the practitioners. How about 10 Abyss Wonders? I only have so many, these things are of little use to me, and I don't collect much. Enrodobas suggested. Yi Tian agreed, and was even very excited. 10 Abyss Strange Objects, these treasures are enough to cultivate several Taoist ancestors, no wonder the realm all say that there are many treasures in the Abyss, and there are countless opportunities. Just one Abyss Lord has so many treasures, how many treasures? At this time, Yi Tian finally understood why there were so many Taoist ancestors in the realm. Not only the inheritance was powerful, but also had something to do with the rare treasures of the Tao. With so many treasures in the upper 3 layers of heaven, it is too simple to cultivate a Taoist ancestor. Like the top 9 heavens forces, I am afraid that the average Taoist ancestors are only middle level, and there are not many Taoist ancestors in the headquarters. If I occupy the Promise Abyss fragment, I'm afraid I can cultivate a large number of Taoist ancestors. Yi Tian hoped, but this idea can only be thought about for the time being. The water in the Promise Abyss is very deep, and even the Imperial Beast sect probably doesn't know much about the Promise Abyss, and they probably only understand it superficially. Where is the opportunity? Yi Tian asked. Enrodobas said. There is a place in the Promise Abyss, not very far from here. There is a strange entrance, many Abyss monsters entered it and were promoted to the Abyss Lord, but there is some danger in it. But there are many of the Abyss Wonders you want, I took a few last time I went. However, after becoming an Abyss Lord, I can't get in. Your cultivation base is still at the Abyss Monster level, but your strength has reached the Abyss Lord level. If you go in there should be no danger, and you can get a lot of strange things and treasures, and even other treasures. This is a real big chance. Afterwards, Enrodobas informed Yi Tian of the specific location, and then took out the strange thing and gave it to Yi Tian. At this point, the transaction is complete. Yi Tian turned around and left, and not long after Yi Tian left, Enrodobas sneered, the greedy guy definitely wants to enter there. I didn't say anything wrong, there is indeed only Abyss monsters allowed to enter, and there are also a lot of the treasures and the chance of the match, but it's too dangerous. I retreated just a little bit deeper. It's too mysterious, if you don't pay attention, it will fall. This guy may be greedy, and he will fall directly. He didn't bother about this issue, turned around and went back to his old lair to sleep. The other side, Yi Tian is also considering the place that Enrodobas said. He is also very clear that Enrodobas must have concealed the news, but according to his calculations, the place is definitely a place of great opportunity, but the danger is probably very high. To go, or not to go? Yi Tian fell into indecision. Chapter 1042 Life Green Race. Go. Yi Tian decided that in a place like the Promise Abyss that can be called a big chance, it is definitely a real big chance. If it weren't for the powerhouses above the true ancestors, and the fragments of the Promise Abyss are very weak now, those ancient Abyss Lords and Abyss Overlords have all fallen, or are in a deep sleep. Otherwise, with his strength, I am afraid that he is not qualified to enter the core area of the Promise Abyss fragment. It can be said that this time may be his only chance to come here. In addition, that place does not allow existences above the Abyss Lord level to enter, which is most suitable for his current level. Yi Tian knew very well that he couldn't stay at the half-step true ancestor level for too long. Once he entered the true ancestor level, he would have no chance to enter that treasure land. All in all, he deserves to be in that place. Moreover, his strength is strong enough, his life-saving ability is strong enough, and the possibility of encountering a death crisis is not very large. After a while, Yi Tian came to the place that Enrodobas said. The sky and the earth in the Promise Abyss are almost all dark, and even some forests are black or strange, and there is almost no green seen. But now, Yi Tian came to an ocean, and there was an oasis above the ocean, and above the oasis was a green forest. Such a place looks too abnormal, completely inconsistent with the style of the Promise Abyss, as if another place was forcibly embedded in the Promise Abyss. This is the place of great opportunity that Enrodobas said, and it is called the Green Forest in the mouth of many Abyss Lords in the Promise Abyss. There is no Abyss Monster in Green Forest, and there is no Abyss Lord. It is not the Abyss Lord, the Abyss Monster does not care about this place, but cannot live here. Here, they are suppressed by a hidden force, and it is difficult for them to exert their strength, and they cannot even practice cultivation. Once they settle here, their strength cannot be improved. The strength cannot be improved, which is an unimaginable torture for the Abyss Monsters and even the Abyss Lords. Therefore, there are no Abyss Monsters and Abyss Lords, not even a living creature, in the Green Forest. It is silent and looks too strange. Green forest, central. Yi Tian came here, staring at a dark hole. This hole was pitch black, and the consciousness and various means could not extend into it, and there was no way to observe the internal situation. Yi Tian tried to use the clone to descend into it, but as soon as the clone entered it, the connection was completely cut off. As soon as the connection was cut off, the clone lost its strength and could not last for long. In addition, the internal situation was unknown, and soon the clone disappeared completely. It seems that the trick is useless, the body must enter W. Yi Tian muttered. Without hesitation for a long time, Yi Tian resolutely entered the hole, and his figure was gradually engulfed by darkness. On a dark and long road, Yi Tian seemed to have lost the control of his body and was constantly being pulled by a force. Suddenly, the center of gravity was unstable. Yi Tian fell down, but quickly regained control of his body, stabilized his body, and stood on a green grass. He has come in, so full of vitality. Yi Tian looked around and exclaimed. This place seems to be a paradise, everything is so vibrant, and it seems out of tune with the infinite abyss outside. However, in the next instant, murderous intent came. I saw a green figure appearing through the void, holding a green spear and killing Yi Tian. This green figure is not tall, about 1 meter 2, and even looks a little thin, but the power of the body is extremely terrifying, and the green spear in his hand also contains the power of the terrifying Tao Law, as if it can penetrate everything. Boom! Yi Tian slammed into it. Yi Tian didn't move, the opponent was shocked and flew out, his whole body exploded, but he quickly recovered under a wave of life fluctuations. What a terrifying recovery speed! Yi Tian was surprised, this was faster than the speed at which he recovered his body with his Blood River avatar. He could sense that his blow had hit the green figure heavily, but he didn't expect the other party to recover quickly. This is not normal. Copy talent, explore. Under the investigation of Yi Tian's copying talent, the other party's talent situation can be seen at a glance. Life green, Mengju. Strength talent, Super God. Speed talent, Super God level. Defensive talent, Super God. Recall of life, Super God level. Spear talent, Supreme. Space talent, God level. Perception talent, God level. Life greens. Yi Tian has never heard of this race, it is very likely that it is a unique race here, and there is no such race outside. The other party has a talent that Yi Tian has not encountered before, and that is Super God level life regression. However, it is impossible for a Super God level talent to be so perverted. It is very likely that because of the special nature here, life recall can absorb the life force here and quickly restore the body. In this way, the life retrospective talent can only exert a terrifying effect here. Once it returns to the outside world, it is an ordinary Super God level talent. But Yi Tian still copied this talent, at least it was a brand new talent. Meng Ju of the Life Green clan is not very strong. Yi Tian first used the Black Wind domain to suppress the opponent, and then used the illusion to trap the opponent's soul, and immediately began the interrogation. The wisdom of the Life Green clan is not very high, but they also possess wisdom. Under Yi Tian's cross-examination, they finally got a general understanding of these situations. According to Meng Ju's story, the Life Green clan is the dominant clan here. In addition to the Life Green clan, there are also a large number of ordinary creatures here, which are their rations and their captive livestock. And the Life Green clan is very powerful. For example, this Meng Ju is only a member of the Life Green clan guard team, who is responsible for surveying this area, and is not a high-level Life Green clan at all. Just one escort team member is stronger than the top half-step true ancestor. Although it is not as good as an abyss monster like Morn, it is also, good comparable to those disciples of the Imperial Beast sect. It can be seen how powerful the Life Green clan is. Under the circumstance that the Abyss Lord and the Abyss Overlord cannot enter, there are only some abyss monsters, and there is no wisdom, only the instinct for crisis. Once they enter here, there is a 99% chance of death. Enrodobas entered here when he was at the abyss monster level, and it was indeed very lucky to be able to get out alive. Enrodobas really had bad intentions, he probably wanted to use the Life Green clan to kill me. Yi Tian guessed. But there is one thing I have to admit, it is indeed very rich here, such as Hidao treasures. Here are just ordinary treasures, and the Life Greens can easily cultivate Hidao treasures. In addition, there is good news, that is, the Life Green clan has no Dao ancestor, this space is flawed, and the Life Green clan also has flaws, and it has never been able to produce a Dao ancestor level powerhouse. But the Living Green clan has true ancestors, and there are a lot of them. Chapter 1043 The Hope of Replicating Talent Upgrades. The true ancestor of the life green race is not called the true ancestor here, but the holy ancestor, and the holy ancestor is also divided into the ordinary holy ancestor, the great holy ancestor and the old ancestor. The old ancestor is definitely second only to the Taoist ancestor. There are only a dozen ancestors in the clan, and it can be seen that after the life green clan becomes the true ancestor, every step is very difficult. The clan with the largest number of life green clans is the soldier level. The soldier level is equivalent to the true monarch in the outside world. Above the soldier level is the team level, that is, the existence of the escort level, which is equivalent to the half-step true ancestor. However, the green clan of life does not speak at the level of the half-step true ancestor. The half-step true ancestor will definitely become the true ancestor in the future, but the escort team level may not necessarily become the holy ancestor. This is the difference between the escort class and the half-step true ancestor. But the general half-step true ancestor is far from being able to beat the guard level, and even some top soldiers can fight with the half-step true ancestor. Yi Tian also learned that the ancestor level powerhouses of the life green clan are usually asleep, or absorb the power of the outside world to nourish this piece of land, otherwise this piece of land will easily collapse and be destroyed. Because of this, the escort level often comes out to patrol to prevent outsiders from breaking into this place and destroying everything here. Therefore, Yi Tian just needs to be careful. Those sacred ancestors, great sacred ancestors and old ancestors will not come to chase and kill him. The most important part of the life green clan belongs to the 323 life sacred mountain. It is rumored that the life green clan was born from the life sacred mountain, but even the guard level life green clan powerhouse is not allowed to enter the life sacred mountain. There is the forbidden land of the living greens, which is said to contain the great secrets of the living greens. Meng Ju didn't understand the sacred mountain of life, and it was even forbidden to discuss this issue within the clan. Sacred mountain of life, if you can go in. Yi Tian thought that if he could enter the divine mountain of life, he might be able to truly know the big secret here. Yi Tian didn't kill Meng Ju, because once killed, the green clan of life would most likely know Meng Ju's death and would send someone to investigate, so the possibility of him being exposed would be much higher. Now, Meng Ju is trapped in the world of endless sinking illusion. As long as he doesn't lift it, it will be difficult for Meng Ju to wake up, so as long as he takes his seal away, he will not worry about exposure. Soon, Yi Tian dealt with Meng Ju and put it into a half-Dao artifact space treasure to suppress. For Yi Tian, capturing Meng Ju not only obtained specific information, but also obtained 6 treasures. Facts are enough to prove that the life green clan is really rich, and any guard level powerhouse has 6 treasures, so how rich should the ancestors, great ancestors and ancestors be? If the combination of Dao Bao CJFI can also make the life green clan join the Dao ancestor, then the life green clan may have already become an incomparably terrifying powerful group. Yi Tian exclaimed. It's a pity that under the restrictions of the rules, the treasures of the Dao are only effective on most of the cultivator races. For groups like the life greens, the treasures of the Dao only allow them to increase the strength of their spiritual energy and cultivate some spiritual energy. It's just the secret art of the unity of God. In the days that followed, Yi Tian hid in the world of the living green clan, constantly looking for the guards who were left alone, and sealed them one by one, and occasionally encountered some soldiers and did not let them go. Under such circumstances, Yi Tian collected a large number of harmony treasures. It stands to reason that leaving now is undoubtedly the safest way, but there are too many treasures here, and there are even deeper secrets. Yi Tian is reluctant to leave. For example, why the green clan of life can cultivate the treasures of the Tao, and what is the origin here, these are all very important. If he leaves, he may not have the chance to explore this secret in his lifetime. But more and more soldiers and escort-level clansmen disappeared, and the life green clan also noticed a problem. Life greens are not stupid, so they don't care that many clansmen are missing and cannot be contacted. Gradually, the life green clan guessed that an outsider had entered their world. In the past, some abyss monsters broke in, and they killed them one by one. They only treated abyss monsters as beasts, so they didn't care much about abyss monsters. But this time was different. A large number of clansmen were missing, and the situation was completely different from usual. As a result, they did not know what to do for a while, so they could only dispatch more escorts to find the missing persons. For the sake of safety, each team has at least hundreds of escort-level leaders, including the leader of the escort-level leader. But Yi Tian can easily detect the existence of the escort team. As long as he doesn't want to show up, it will be difficult for those escort team to find Yi Tian. This day, Yi Tian approached the core area of the life green clan, where there were tree cities. The so-called tree city is a city built on a giant tree. The Green Clan of Life relies very much on the energy of the wood system, and this world has many huge divine trees. These divine trees are even bigger than the stars, and a city can be built on them. In this case, their cultivation in the city will be very fast. Almost every tree city has a holy ancestor who sits for a long time and takes turns to sleep, ensuring that every tree city has one or several awakened holy ancestors. Just stepping into the core area, Yi Tian's expression changed, a little surprised or even unbelievable, even excited. He sensed the change in the copy talent, as if there was something faintly attracting the copy talent. He hadn't sensed this feeling for a long time. This was the case when he discovered a treasure that could transform his copy talent. For a long time, Yi Tian wanted to continue to upgrade the copy talent, but he did not find such a treasure. But now, he actually sensed such a treasure. Opportunity. This is a real big opportunity, enough to change everything about Yi Tian. He was able to grow to this level, completely relying on the copy talent, but if the copy talent is upgraded again, what is the concept? Does it mean that he has the hope of surpassing the Dao ancestor and reaching the level of the domain ancestor in the future? Be sure to get this treasure. Yi Tian swore secretly. Immediately, he followed this induction and slowly advanced in the core area of the life green race. Finally, he determined the location of the treasure. Sacred Mountain of Life. Yi Tian frowned. The Sacred Mountain of Life is a forbidden place for the Life Green Clan, but it does not mean that the Life Green Clan does not pay attention to the Sacred Mountain of Life, but attaches great importance to it. According to Meng Ju's understanding, as well as the interrogation of other guards, there are at least hundreds of holy ancestors and great ancestors around the Mountain of Life, and there is even an old ancestor who is always awake. They have been guarding the Sacred Mountain of Life, and no one can enter it. With such a huge power guarding the Sacred Mountain of Life, Yi Tian has no hope of entering the Sacred Mountain of Life at all. Unless, Yi Tian thought of a way. Reincarnation born. This door-level natural talent can make him temporarily reincarnated into a new life, and can also lift the reincarnation natural state with a single thought. This means that he can be temporarily reincarnated as a Life Green Clan, so that he can hide from the upper echelons of the Life Green Clan. But in this way, he will become very weak, and he has to practice step by step. He can grow up to the size of a dragon. Lo, since the true spirit still belongs to the half-step true ancestor, because he cannot grow to the holy ancestor level of the Life Green race, but this is enough. As long as he doesn't die, he can still be integrated into the Green Clan of Life. Only then can he hope to enter the Sacred Mountain of Life, explore the secrets of the Sacred Mountain of Life, and obtain the mysterious treasure that is extremely helpful to him. After thinking about it for a while, Yi Tian decided to use the Samsara natural talent, which is a door-level natural talent, and mixed into the Life Green Clan. Chapter 1044 Mixed into the Life Green Clan. Reincarnation born. Yi Tian opened this Dao-level natural talent, and a door of reincarnation appeared. Then, Yi Tian stepped into the door of reincarnation, and took in a breath of Life Green Clan. His body changed rapidly, from the human body to the Life Green Clan, and the breath on his body dropped quickly, and the time changed in a while. Became the baby size of the greens of life. But even at the size of a baby, his aura was enough to compare to a normal general. Soon, Yi Tian's temporary reincarnation of the Life Green baby began to grow rapidly, becoming a child, a teenager, and the aura on his body became stronger and stronger, but it was far from reaching the realm of destiny. In the Life Green Clan, the soldiers are divided into ordinary clansmen and elite clansmen. Elite clansmen are equivalent to the realm of destiny, while ordinary clansmen are equivalent to the level of gods. As for the specific division, it is not, because the Life Green race grows very fast, it is not very difficult to become a soldier, and it can be easily achieved after a period of practice. The level that is really difficult to achieve is the escort level, and only a few living greens can advance to the escort level. Although most of the Life Green people live in the tree cities, there are still many villages of the Life Green people on the earth. The strength of these villages is very weak, and many villages do not even have strong soldiers. But this kind of village is the most suitable for Yi Tian's early development, because the monitoring here is very weak. If he goes to the tree city alone, even if he is reincarnated into a living green tribe, he will be screened layer by layer. In case of leaking a little trace, it would be very troublesome. Therefore, Yi Tian chose a weak living green village and joined in at a suitable time. In this way, as the years passed, Yi Tian's reincarnated Life Green people really grew up. 5 years later, Yi Tian is already an elite-level clan member of the Life Green clan. Such strength is already very powerful in the village. Coupled with several combat skills created by Yi plus combat awareness, etc., it is enough to compete with the soldier level. Next, Yi found an opportunity and entered a tree city. Bayan City is a representative of the village elite. Bayan City far surpassed the village, with 1 patriarch level, 10 great patriarchs, and more than 100 patriarchs. As for the guard level, it was even more difficult to calculate. The population of the entire Bayan City is almost more than 10 billion, such a powerful tree city can be said to be the absolute ruler of the billions of territories. Every year, elites from villages joined Bayan City, and Yi Tian's goal was to join Bayan City. Although Yi Tian can also practice alone, but in this case, the origin of his strength is not clear, such as this step-by-step improvement, everything has a reason to follow, and it will not arouse the suspicion of the high-level Life Green clan. After Yi Tian showed his strength, fighting ability, and certain talent, he successfully joined Bayan City, and then entered the elite military academy in Bayan City. Once he graduated from this military academy, he could become an official soldier in Bayan City. If you reach the escort level, you can even form your own team. After Yi Tian joined Bayan City, he no longer hid his talent, grew up quickly with a talent that far surpassed other geniuses, and even attracted the attention of a saint ancestor. The name of Yi Tian's genius also began to spread to the entire Bayan City. In the name of a genius, no matter how Yi Tian's strength improves, there will be no doubts. In this case, Yi Tian tried his best to improve his own strength. But in the end, it is the path of the green race of life. It is different from the previous practice path. Everything needs to be explored by oneself, so it is difficult to quickly grow to the guard level. But after 100 years, Yi Tian still reached the escort level, but the foundation couldn't be too strong. But Yi Tian didn't care either. This body was only temporarily reincarnated. When he lifted the reincarnation, all these powers would turn into nothingness, so there was no need to fight it. The life greens have a relatively large span at the guard level, and the top guard level can easily kill a group of ordinary guard levels. Different from outside practitioners, after the life green people become the escort team, they need to absorb life energy to temper their body and blood, and constantly improve their strength. Once they reach the physical limit, they will realize the signs of life returning to their ancestors. If you succeed, you will be the holy ancestor. This process is a slow process and takes a long time. But it is not difficult to speed up this process. You only need to cultivate a life technique that fits your own, or obtain a life crystal of a high energy level. Certainly, harmony treasures can also speed up this process, and it works well. It is because of this that the Life Green clan cultivates the treasures of the Tao, but Yi Tian can't waste the treasures of the Tao, so the creation of the life technique and the crystal of life can make his strength grow rapidly. For flowers, in order to be able to create a life practice method, Yi Tian paid a huge price and directly took a heavenly soul pill, which created a top-notch life practice method that reached a perfect level of fit with himself. Then, Yi Tian continued to accept tasks, entered various dangerous places, and tried his best to obtain life crystals. Occasionally, Yi Tian also used time to speed up his cultivation. In this way, Yi Tian's strength increased rapidly, and he went further and further at the escort level. One day 500 years later, Yi Tian's strength had risen to the top escort level, but in terms of combat power, it was second only to the Saint Ancestor level. After reaching this level, Yi Tian found that his strength had stagnated, and he could not continue to improve. Yi Tian is very clear that this is the inherent limitation of reincarnation, limited by the realm and strength of the main body. This reincarnation body cannot surpass the previous one. We must find a way to enter the mountain of life. Yi Tian secretly said. With his current strength, coupled with the name of genius, he was determined to be a saint. Coupled with the almost invincible strength of the owner's escort team, his status in Bayan City was very high. It's just that his foundation is too shallow, so he can't enter the high level of Bayan City, but he also knows many high-level leaders. After Yi Tian scrutinized and inquired step by step, he finally learned a little about the situation of the Divine Mountain of Life. It turns out that the Sacred Mountain of Life is the origin of the Life Green clan, and it contains the highest inheritance of the Life Green clan. Yi Tian was extremely surprised. Ordinary Life Green clan and even general guards do not know this secret at all. If it is not for his high status, I am afraid they will not know this secret. In addition, he also knew two ways to enter the Sacred Mountain of Life. One is to become a holy ancestor, and then conduct a series of assessments to become a holy ancestor who will live in the Sacred Mountain of Life forever. Or become an ancestor-level existence, then no one dares to stop him. This method is not realistic. The second method is the battle for the inheritance of the sacred mountain of life once every 1,000 years. Each tree city has a quota. Once this quota is obtained, you can enter the sacred mountain of life and obtain the inheritance of the sacred mountain of life. Now it will take 300 years to inherit the sacred mountain of life. Chapter 1045 Get a place. 300 years is not a long time, but for Yi Tian, there is a big problem, that is, his growth rate is too fast, his foundation is too shallow. It is reasonable to say that this year's quota has nothing to do with him. There is a competition once in 1,000 years, and the quota for each time has already been determined. If Yi Tian competes for the next quota, there is still hope, but if he competes for this time, it will be troublesome. Of course, it doesn't mean that Yi Tian has no chance to compete. He only needs to get the joint recommendation of more than 10 holy ancestors, and then challenge the escort team who originally set the quota. If the challenge is successful, he can get the quota. But in this way, it will undoubtedly offend the guard-level powerhouse, and even offend the forces behind the opponent. Under normal circumstances, there would not be a few ancestral powerhouses willing to jointly recommend him. But after Yi Tian learned about this matter, he visited a famous ancestral powerhouse one by one, and even promised various benefits, and finally moved 10 sage ancestors to jointly recommend him. Bayan City, a mansion. The guard-level powerhouse Nuoyu is very angry with 323. Originally, he had already set the quota for this year's Life God Mountain. Although his talent is top-notch, he also wants to perfectly evolve to the holy ancestor level. Only the ancestors can hope to be promoted to the great sage ancestor and the old ancestor. But he has no confidence in perfect evolution. If he relies on himself alone, even the hope of being promoted to the holy ancestor is less than 30%, let alone perfect evolution. Therefore, he needs a strong inheritance to assist him in his promotion to the ancestral level, and the strongest inheritance of the Life Green clan is in the Mountain of Life. The sacred Mountain of Life is a forbidden area. Under normal circumstances, it is impossible to enter at all. Only the once in a 1,000-year quota can allow him to enter. Before, the geniuses in Bayan City crushed him one by one. Finally, he waited for these geniuses to get the places one by one. This time it was finally his turn, but he never expected that someone would be born to compete with him. No, 10 ancestral powerhouses have jointly recommended the guy named Yi. It will take a few days to review. If he challenges me in a few days, I'm afraid I won't be an opponent. Nuoyu worried. He has a sufficient understanding of his own strength. Although he is a top escort team, Yi Tian's strength is too strong. He claims to be invincible at the escort team level. If he fought against Yi Tian, he estimated that he would lose with a few moves. Is it possible to wait another 1,000 years? Nuoyu tangled. A mere 1,000 years is nothing, he can retreat for a little while, but the quota is gone, what is lost is not 1,000 years, and he still has face. This quota was originally his, and if someone else took it away, he would lose a lot of face. At that time, I don't know how many people will ridicule him. What makes Nuoyu relieved is that Yi Tian's background is not deep, he is only talented and has no background. Kill him. Nuoyu had this idea in his heart, a dead genius who has no backing, and no one will come to trouble him. The key question is whether it can kill Yi Tian. You can't invite the holy ancestor. Nuoyu knew very well that the ancestors could not attack the guards, otherwise the Green clan would definitely punish them severely, and no ancestor dared to take action unless it was a life-threatening situation. Therefore, he can only ask the escort team to take action, but Yi Tian is invincible at the escort team level, and if he is alone, he is not Yi Tian's opponent at all. Every race has a dark side. It is as powerful as the green race of life. It has evolved over a long period of time, and naturally there are some strong people on the dark side. For example, there is an organization in the Green clan called the Black God Organization. This organization specially accepts some assassination missions, even if it is the holy ancestor, as long as they are willing to pay the price, they dare to assassinate. Nuoyu happened to know the contact information of a branch of the Black God Organization, so he secretly contacted this organization, paid an amazing deposit, and assigned the task of assassinating Yi Tian. 2 days later, Yi Tian received a message from a village asking for help, and this village happened to be the village Yi Tian used to live in. If Yi Tian did not go to support, I am afraid that someone would use this matter to accuse him at this time. So, Yi Tian left Bayan City and rushed to the village. At his speed, it won't take long to reach the village. But not long after he left Bayan City, one after another came through the space, and used a piece of treasure that blocked the void to block this area. A guard class, 2 escort class, 3 Escort Class. 1. More than 20 guards appeared, and they all wore masks and cloaks to block the exploration. From the perspective of breadth, these 20 guards are all top guards, and all of them have powerful weapons. Judging from its temperament, it is also a long-term combatant, not a vase, so its combat effectiveness is not bad. For a battle team of this size, as long as the ancestor level does not attack, any escort level may not be able to survive. Who are you? Yi Tian questioned. These 20 people didn't speak, they came up and started directly. The battle has begun. As soon as the battle started, they suppressed Yi Tian. No way, although Yi Tian claims to be invincible at the escort level, these people seem to be specially selected escorts to deal with him. It's a pity that I can only use the power of the Life Green clan. If I can use the power of my body, I can easily kill them. Yi Tian thought to himself. But this is just thinking about it, he doesn't dare to release the reincarnation, otherwise once he is exposed, he will not want to enter the sacred mountain of life. Yi Tian did not aim to kill the opponent, but insisted on saving his life, but secretly sent a message to a saint ancestor in Bayan City. The saint ancestor was very optimistic about him, so he would definitely come to rescue. Time passed by a little bit, Yi Tian was injured, but he never collapsed and persisted. The 20 members of the Black God organization started to panic. According to their plan, once Yi Tian was besieged, they would definitely kill Yi Tian in a short time. 20 of them attacked. Withdraw. The Black Gods came from the direction of Bayan City, and the Holy Ancestor came again. If they didn't escape, they would probably die here. Just as the people of the Black God organization had just escaped, a saint ancestor descended. Yi, are you alright? Wang Yu, a powerful man at the ancestral level of Bayan City, asked. Lord Wang Yu, I'm fine. Yi Tian said quickly. I will definitely give you an explanation for this matter. Wang Yu said solemnly. Thank you, Mr. Wang Yu. Yi Tian pretended to be grateful. Bayan City moved quickly, and after a while, it was confirmed that the group was from the Black God organization. Then there are the saint-level powerhouses who began to track the people of the Black God organization. After all, they shot 5.8, and there will definitely be traces left. If you really want to trace these traces, there is still hope to trace them. But at this moment, a escort in Bayan City accidentally exposed himself to ask the people of the Black God organization to assassinate Yi Tian. That day, the escort class died. But everyone knows that the escort level is being pushed out to take the blame, but even if they know, there is no way to continue the investigation, otherwise things will get bigger. Although Yi Tian didn't know who was targeting him, he also had several targets, but he didn't care. After all, he is not a member of the Living Green clan, and he will not stay in the Living Green clan for too long, so he is not very concerned about these disputes. Another 2 days passed. Yi Tian's challenge application passed. And Nuiyu knew Yi Tian's combat power and was too frightened to agree, for fear that Yi Tian would deliberately kill him during the battle, so Nuiyu voluntarily conceded defeat. In this way, Yi Tian got the place to enter the sacred mountain of life. His most important step has been completed. Chapter 1046 The Divine Tree, The Inheritance Channel. The Mountain of Life. A guard-level powerhouse came here under the leadership of a holy ancestor, and there are about 100 guards-level people who have this time to enter the sacred mountain of life. Yi Tian was also among them. When he came here, he immediately felt that the attraction in the shadows had strengthened a lot, as if urging him to enter the sacred mountain of life. Yi Tian was not impulsive, but held back. At this time, there can be no trouble, otherwise it will be completely troublesome. He was able to sense the number of powerhouses in the sacred mountain of life with his copying talent, 2 ancestors, 6 great sage ancestors, and hundreds of sacred ancestors. This was the power to guard the sacred mountain of life. If you add the hundreds of ancestors who escorted the escort-level powerhouses, the number of powerhouses will be even more. Such a force is too powerful, even if Yi Tian's strength is 10 times stronger, it cannot compete with the strong here. Because the mountain of life is so important, every escort team needs to undergo a strict review. After all, if something goes wrong, it will be difficult for the entire Life Green clan to thrive. Yi Tian was also a little nervous, for fear that Dao-level natal innate talent would be discerned by them. But he thought too much, and there were no problems until everyone checked. Just as everyone was preparing to enter the mountain of life, a great ancestral powerhouse appeared. I am the guardian of the sacred mountain of life, Yun. Today you have the qualifications to enter the sacred mountain of life, so you are qualified to know a secret of the Life Green clan, that is, relying on your own strength, you can never become the sacred ancestor, you must rely on a treasure from the mountain of life to achieve a breakthrough. Yun said. What? How is this possible? Shouldn't be, I have never entered the sacred mountain of life with the escort level, haven't I also broken through to the holy ancestor level? I remember that in our Longchang, there was a holy ancestor who fell into the sacred mountain of life. Just as there was a lot of discussion at the guard level, Yun explained, yes, there are indeed some people who did not enter the sacred mountain of life, but broke through to the ancestor level, but at that time they used the long years of credit to exchange for a piece from the sacred mountain of life. Treasure, this is the only way to break through. If you don't use that treasure, no matter how evil your talents are, you can't break through. This is the secret of our Life Green clan, and it should not be leaked easily, otherwise it will cause a huge mutiny. After listening, everyone nodded their heads to show their understanding. After all, there are very few guards who can enter the sacred mountain of life. Some guards are not qualified to enter the sacred mountain in their entire lives. If they know that they will not have the opportunity to enter the sacred ancestors in their lives, they will be very angry, and even feel unfair. By that time, the Life Green race as a whole will be messed up. Under the introduction of the great sage ancestor Yun, Yi Tian knew what the green race of life needed to use to break through the shackles and be promoted to the sacred ancestor level. Sacred Stone of Life. This is a kind of treasure from the special head of the sacred mountain of life. The treasure that is slowly nurtured under a special energy of the sacred mountain of life is very rare, so it cannot be supplied in large quantities. For example, the hundreds of guards in front of them may not all be able to find the holy stone of life. Maybe only a dozen people can find the holy stone of life, and maybe none of them. Moreover, even if the holy stone of life is found, it will only allow a guard level to have the qualifications to go to the ancestor level. The shackles in the dark will disappear, but it does not mean that you can become the ancestor level. Historically, many of the Life Green clan's escort team obtained the holy stone of life, but in the end they did not become the holy ancestor. This is due to their poor aptitude and weak potential foundation, so they could not become the holy ancestor. In short, excellent talent, the holy stone of life and a certain amount of luck can only become a holy ancestor. Even if it is so difficult to become a holy ancestor, the Life Green race has accumulated from generation to generation, and has also accumulated many holy ancestors, great ancestors and old ancestors. The true ancestors and abyss lords of the outside world cannot enter here, so the Life Green race is completely the true overlord of this world, and no one can shake their status. According to the introduction of the great sage Yun, the most precious thing in the sacred mountain of life, apart from the sacred stone of life, is the inheritance. But there are too few guards who can obtain inheritance. The specific situation will be known when you enter the sacred mountain of life. In addition, the life energy of the mountain of life is extremely rich, and many treasures are born in it. As long as you can find it, it belongs to you. Therefore, being able to enter the mountain of life, everyone can get a lot of gains. Go in. A guard level Life Green people entered the mountain of life, and Yi Tian was naturally among them. As soon as they entered the sacred mountain of life, everyone felt the life energy far beyond the outside world, as well as an overwhelming sense of oppression, as if a supreme life was oppressing them. These escort classes are here, and they can only fly at low altitudes, and their destructive power has been reduced countless times. How does this coercion look like? A kind of coercion of an advanced life form that far exceeds itself? Yi Tian was curious. But his body is already at the escort level comparable to the half-step true ancestor level, and to a certain extent is not weaker than the true ancestor. Even the coercion of the Tao ancestor level life cannot make him feel this way. Weird. But Yi Tian did not delve into it, but continued to go deep into the sacred mountain of life like other escort level powerhouses. In a short while, a sacred mountain full of vitality appeared in the eyes of everyone. A famous escort class saw some vital magical medicines, spiritual plants and fruits and picked them up one after another. After all, these are all good things. Yi Tian 323 also picked up some, but he didn't pay much attention to it. He carefully sensed the attraction in the shadows, and the treasure that would allow him to replicate his talent upgrade is still in the core area of the mountain of life. The mountain of life is not a mountain, it is more like a mountain range, and there are bound to be more treasures in the core area. So, Yi Tian quickly flew to the core area. In a short while, Yi Tian saw a huge divine tree. This divine tree was even bigger than the divine tree where a tree city was located. It was the largest divine tree Yi Tian had ever seen. There is a huge passage under the god tree, and there is a stone tablet in front of the channel. The stone tablet is inscribed with the words of the green people of life, introducing the situation about this channel. Inheritance channel. Yi Tian immediately understood. This is the place of inheritance of the green clan of life, but it is also marked on the stone tablet that the passage of inheritance is very dangerous, and those who are not strong enough should not accept the inheritance assessment, otherwise it will be easy to fall. Other guards are still looking for the holy stone of life, but the holy stone of life is useless to me, I don't need it, it is better to enter this inheritance channel directly, maybe you can learn more secrets. Yi Tian thought to himself. More importantly, his sensory object is inside the divine tree. In order to upgrade the copy talent, he must enter this inheritance channel. Chapter 1047 Memories. Yi Tian did not hesitate much, and resolutely entered the inheritance channel. As soon as he entered the inheritance channel, a more terrifying pressure of life descended, causing Yi Tian to crawl forward as if carrying hundreds of millions of divine mountains. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to finish walking through this inheritance channel and came to a huge space. This is a blood-colored space. On the vast land, blood rivers flow, void cracks are everywhere, and endless sadness permeates all around. Suddenly, a figure appeared, killing Yi Tian. The speed of the opponent is very fast, even comparable to the speed of the true ancestor, and his aura is at least comparable to the top guard level powerhouse. When, Yi Tian blocked the opponent's attack with a knife and fought with the opponent. After several moves, Yi Tian beheaded the opponent with one sword, and then a memory rushed towards Yi Tian, forcibly merging with Yi Tian. This memory is a feeling, or a memory of practice, including many secret techniques, practice experience and so on. Could it be that this is inheritance? Yi Tian was surprised. This inheritance method is too strange, as if the other party is a memory, and he directly plundered a memory, which is equivalent to obtaining an inheritance. However, it is a pity that this memory does not contain two amazing inheritance, but for the escort team, this inheritance is quite good, which involves a lot of knowledge about life, and it is very important to the Life Green clan. Say it is precious. As Yi Tian advanced, a blood-colored figure would kill from time to time. In the beginning, these blood-colored figures were only equivalent to the top escort-level powerhouses, but gradually there appeared blood-colored figures that approached the invincible escort-level powerhouses. Even Yi Tian, it was very difficult to kill them. In this way, Yi Tian obtained a large number of memory fragments inheritance. These memory fragments are very messy and seem to have no connection, but as more memory fragments merged into Yi Tian's soul, he gradually discovered that these memory fragments should be owned by a single creature. But due to the lack of critical memory, Yi Tian was unable to know the identity of the other party. Come on, it's not far from that treasure. Yi Tian was a little excited. This means that he is not far from upgrading the copy talent. Once the upgrade is successful, how powerful his copy talent will become. Sudden, a blood-colored figure with a terrifying aura appeared, and the opponent's aura was comparable to that of an ordinary ancestor-level powerhouse. If Yi Tian is in the state of the main body, he is not afraid of an ordinary ancestor-level powerhouse, but this body is a temporary reincarnation body, and the combat power is limited, and it has not yet reached the level of the ancestor-level powerhouse. Therefore, this battle is difficult. Boom, the battle has begun. At the beginning, Yi Tian was completely suppressed. If it wasn't for the rapid recovery of the green body of the Life Green race and the strong ability to save his life, he would have been killed by the blood-colored shadow long ago. Half an hour later, Yi Tian has been severely injured, his combat power has fallen to a certain level, and he will fall at any time. At this time, Yi Tian made a decision. No way, I have to release the state of reincarnation, otherwise I can't stay in this inheritance space with my current combat power. Although it will be more troublesome to leave the sacred mountain of life after reincarnation is released, but it's not that there is no hope of escape. Yi Tian thought about this, and immediately released the innate state of reincarnation. Boom, the gate of reincarnation appeared, Yi Tian passed through the gate of reincarnation, the body of the green race of life began to disintegrate, and the body belonging to the human race began to condense. In the blink of an eye, Yi Tian has become a human body, and his cultivation has also become a half-step true ancestor realm, no longer at the guard level. After changing back to the main body state, Yi Tian's strength skyrocketed many times. Breakthrough. Yi Tian's Dao technique directly hit the bloody figure. Click. The blood-colored figure was torn apart directly, it died instantly without any life-saving ability, and a powerful memory merged into Yi Tian's soul. This time, this memory is a little different. This memory is very long, and there is a memory about the realm of the gods, which also contains an inheritance of the true ancestor. Keep going. Yi Tian kept heading towards the unknown treasure, and along the way, he encountered many blood-colored figures with true ancestor strength, but they all fell and died in Yi Tian's hands, turning them into memories. As the memories increased, Yi Tian gradually understood who the masters of these memories were. Greenery. This is the name of the opponent. As for the strength of the opponent, it is not easy to say, because each memory is in a different era, and the strength of the opponent is also different. The recently accepted memory shows that the other party is already a true ancestor. But obviously, the true ancestor could not do such a method, and the other party was at least a top Taoist ancestor, and it was even more than that simple. He killed another powerful blood-colored figure, making Yi Tian fight for half an hour, and he didn't know how many Tao techniques he released. Killing the opponent with such difficulty gave Yi Tian a huge amount of memory, which was the memory of the opponent after he became a Taoist ancestor. Such memories are very precious, allowing Yi Tian to thoroughly understand the path of Daozu, and to make up for the lack of experience. This kind of benefit is almost impossible to replicate, unless a Tao ancestor has fallen and his memory is left. He can obtain such a benefit, otherwise the Tao ancestor alone cannot achieve such a benefit at all. At this time, Yi Tian felt that he was not far from that treasure. Found, Yi Tian came to a small hill, and a small blood-colored tree grew here, as if it was watered with blood. And on the blood-colored tree grows a blood-red fruit, which looks very extraordinary. That's the fruit. Yi Tian's eyes widened, agitated. This fruit is the treasure he needs. Once it is refined, his copying talent will inevitably be upgraded. But what troubled Yi Tian was that a blood-colored figure was guarding the blood-colored fruit. This blood-colored figure is stronger than all the previous blood-colored figures, and its strength is probably enough to compare with the true ancestors of the top middle stage of the avenue, and even comparable to the true ancestors of the late stage of the avenue. Yi Tian estimated well, good that he was not the opponent's opponent, and could only barely contend with one or two. Do not care. Yi Tian rushed up and fought with the bloody figure. Sure enough, Yi Tian was injured at the beginning of the fight. But with the power of various Tao techniques, Yi Tian forcibly blocked the opponent's attack. Suddenly, Yi Tian seized an opportunity and used the 3-in-1 supernatural power. The physical strength and divine power turned into soul power, and at the same time, he used the chaotic supernatural power of endless sinking, which instantly confused the opponent Gong. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Tian grabbed the blood-red fruit and left quickly. Yi Tian's speed was very fast, and after using the space escape technique, he quickly got rid of the bloody figure. Afterwards, Yi Tian found a quiet and safe place and started refining the blood-red fruits. He has to upgrade his copy talent here first. Maybe the new copy talent can help him solve the difficulty. Chapter 1048 New ability to copy talent, copy body. Start taking this blood-red fruit. I hope it can really transform my copy talent. Yi Tian muttered to himself. Gollum. Yi Tian swallowed this blood-red fruit in one bite, and immediately terrifying energy swept through the whole body, which was many times more majestic than any kind of treasure that Yi Tian had swallowed in the past to increase the level of duplication talent. I saw that this majestic energy was not absorbed by the body, but poured into the soul, and was absorbed by the original imprint of the copy talent. Immediately, the copy talent began to undergo subtle changes, and the imprint began to grow and grow. At the same time, the long-lost pain poured into the depths of his soul, but fortunately Yi Tian could still bear it and did not cry out in pain. Soon, half an hour passed, the energy of the blood-red fruit was exhausted, and the transformation of the copy talent was completely over. Check. Yi Tian's mind moved, and the situation of copying talent appeared. On the whole, there is no big difference between the copy talent and the previous one, but the scope of the investigation is much wider, and he found that he can integrate the Tao-level natural talent. Before, Yi Tian couldn't integrate the 10 major Tao-level natural talents, but now he can. It is conceivable that once the 10 major Tao-level natural talents are integrated, what kind of terrifying Tao-level natural talents will be produced. In addition, Yi Tian also found that the copy talent has an additional ability, and it is still a very powerful ability. Copy the body. That is to say, Yi Tian can duplicate a body, which is exactly the same as the main body, and no one can notice it. It seems that this ability is similar to that of the clone, but it is far from being comparable to the clone. The avatars condensed after the destiny realm cannot be cultivated. Even when the cultivation base is low, the avatars can be refined. These avatars can be cultivated, but the potential is very low, and the combat power is not as good as the main body. The body that can be copied is different, that is the second body, which has all the capabilities of the body, and even has the ability to copy talent. This is terrible. Of course, Yi Tian can only copy one body now, and once this body falls, it can still be recovered, and it can be recovered in 10,000 years. A mere 10,000 years is nothing to Yi Tian. This ability can completely save lives at a critical moment. In addition to these, the power of copying talent has greatly increased, which is not a level compared to before. This time I made a big profit. Yi Tian was quite excited. Immediately, he used the ability to duplicate his body. I saw a body quickly formed, exactly the same as Yi Tian, even the strength of the breath is exactly the same, not a little worse, and the soul breath, talent situation, etc. are exactly the same. It can be said that even if the domain ancestors who surpassed the Taoist ancestors came here, they could not tell the difference between the two bodies. Is it possible to escape the sacred mountain of life this time? I am afraid that we must rely on the ability to copy the body. Yi Tian mused. If he didn't have the ability to duplicate his body, if he went out, the saint ancestors, great saint ancestors and old ancestors of the life green race would probably attack him in groups. With his strength, he could not stop the attacks of these powerhouses at all. Maybe he can stop the attack of a top sage ancestor, but as long as the great sage makes a move, he will be finished. The great sage ancestor of the life green race is almost comparable to the true ancestor of the late great Tao, and this is the world of the life green race, and they have a natural combat advantage in fighting here. Therefore, Yi Tian can only rely on the ability to copy his body. Of course, he couldn't foolishly use the second body to attract attention, that would be useless. Copying the body is not only copying his own body, but also copying other people's bodies. For example, he can copy a life green guard level body, and then use that guard level body to leave the mountain of life. In this way, he can easily leave the world of the living green race and return to the outside world. But at the moment, Yi Tian is not going to leave, but wants to explore the secrets of this inheritance place. Before, he had no ability to probe, because once he went deep, the powerful blood-colored memory would attack him, and the blood-colored figures he encountered later all had ancestral combat power. Therefore, he could only escape. But now it is different, he has the ability to copy the body, as long as it is a body, no matter what form, he can copy it. Therefore, he was able to copy a blood-colored figure body, and then mixed into the core area of this inheritance space. As long as the copied body does not fall, it will have no effect, but once it falls, it will take 10,000 years to recover. Lift. Yi Tian's second body dissipated, and immediately Yi Tian searched for a blood-colored figure with a similar cultivation base to himself. There is a flaw in copying the body, that is, it cannot copy a body higher than his own cultivation base, otherwise Yi Tian will copy a Tao ancestor body casually, wouldn't he be invincible? No matter how powerful he is, he can't break the rules of the sky, so he can only choose to copy a bloody figure whose cultivation is comparable to the half-step true ancestor. Fortunately, there are quite a few bloody figures in this inheritance space, and Yi Tian found them soon and successfully copied them. The place where the mountain of life is inherited, the core area. A blood-colored figure was swept forward quickly, crossing the blood-colored figures one by one, while the other blood-colored figures did not attack it. Unlike ordinary blood-colored figures, this blood-colored figure constantly looked around, and his eyes showed humanized emotions. It is not an ordinary blood-colored figure, but a body copied by Yi Tian, completely controlled by Yi Tian. Sure enough, with such a blood-colored figure body, other blood-colored figures treat me as the same kind and don't attack me at all. Yi Tian said excitedly. In this way, there will be no more secrets for him here. If the life greens knew that he had this ability, I am afraid they would be jealous to death. Soon, Yi Tian came to the most core area of the inheritance land. Here, Yi sees seen. He saw a corpse, the corpse of a tree man to be exact. Copy talent, check it out. Under the investigation of duplicating talent, the talent of this tree man was revealed. Name: Luyin Daozu. Source talent: Super God level. Source speed talent: Super God level. Origin talent: Super God level. Yuanmu talent: Super God level. Yuankong talent: Super God level. Introduction: a divine tree has been transformed into Taoism. At its peak, it was the invincible Taoist ancestor of Zhouzhongtian. At the beginning, he had a glimpse of the mystery of the ancestor. He offended an ancestor a long time ago. Entering a realm to live in seclusion, when the realm is broken, you will die after fighting a strong enemy, and when you die, you will be transformed into a realm in the infinite abyss. Hey, copy talent can actually show a person's past, this ability is awesome. Yi Tian was surprised. Obviously, this is one of the brand new abilities, but he hadn't discovered it before, and it's not too late to discover it now. It can be seen from the introduction that this tree man was once a divine tree, and later became the invincible Taoist ancestor of Zhouzhongtian. Zhouzhongtian Invincible Daozu, what is this concept? Even in the realm of gods, an 8th level supreme Daozu is almost invincible, and there are too few Zhouzhongtian Daozu. Moreover, the invincible Daozu of Zhouzhongtian named Luin had a first glimpse of the mystery of the ancestor of the domain, and there is definitely hope to become an ancestor of the domain. But such a powerful and invincible Dao ancestor was hit hard by the domain ancestor, his cultivation base was greatly reduced, and he encountered a battle to shatter the domain realm, which was really unfortunate. Otherwise, it is almost impossible for such an invincible Dao ancestor to fall. From this point of view, the world where the Life Green clan is located is the corpse transformed by Luin Daozu's body, and the Life Green clan is a clan that evolved from Luin Daozu's breath, and this corpse should be the corpse of Luin Daozu's core torso. Yi Tian guessed. Immediately, Yi Tian's eyes widened, full of excitement. This is the corpse of an invincible Taoist ancestor. How valuable is it? If it can get the inheritance of this existence, it will be even better. Chapter 1049 The Memory Inheritance of the Invincible Daozu. The real corpse of the invincible Daozu Luin turned into a world. Although the core torso in front of him was only a part of the body and had been dead for a long time, its coercion was still extremely terrifying. Yi Tian, this bloody figure, is the memory of the opponent, and has the same breath of the opponent, so the coercion he bears is reduced by an unknown number of times. If Yi Tian's body comes, I am afraid that it will be difficult to suppress by this coercion. Moved. This is the horror of the coercion of the strong, even if it falls for endless years, it is not the weak that can bear it. Yi Tian moved forward step by step, approaching the corpse of Lu Yin Dao ancestor. Other memories did not dare to approach Luin Daozu's corpse due to instinct, but Yi Tian didn't care, he was not a real memory, so he naturally dared to approach. But even if it is of the same origin, the coercion in the dark is still preventing Yi Tian. A little time passed. Yi Tian really got close to Luin Daozu's corpse, and touched Luin Daozu with one hand. At this moment, a terrifying force poured into Yi Tian, the bloody figure. At the same time, pictures poured into Yi Tian's mind in the form of memories. Countless memories emerged, and finally settled in the most profound picture, which was the picture of Luin Daozu fighting with a mysterious existence whose face could not be seen clearly. To talk about fighting here, it is better to say that it is difficult to resist. A chaotic void. Luin Daozu looked at him with a solemn expression, and saw that the void of the tens of millions of chaotic domains tumbled, and a figure came slowly. I saw a stalwart domain phantom floating behind the visitor, and the terrifying aura made the Chaos Avenue retreat, and all the rules changed with each other's every move. He is the master of the avenue, the maker of the rules, and the source of everything. Yi Tian couldn't describe the stalwart of this person, just the phantom of the memory made him freeze, unable to say anything. Obviously, this is a domain ancestor. Luin Daozu, you shouldn't violate that taboo. Originally, you had a 30% hope to be promoted to the ancestor of the domain and become an existence equal to us, qualified to jump out of the domain and explore the real world. Unfortunately, you violated the taboo, and the realm of the gods can't tolerate it. I can't tolerate you either. Today, you will surely die. Mysterious domain ancestor said. Ha ha ha, I just discovered your secret. What taboos and what can't be tolerated, it's ridiculous. Daozu Luin roared. Mysterious domain ancestor was reluctant to say more, one finger crossed endless time and space, shattered hundreds of millions of territories and suppressed them. And Luin Daozu turned into a divine tree body comparable to the size of 100,000 universes, trying to compete with this finger. However, a finger pierced through his body, and his divine tree body began to crack. This blow made Luin Daozu realize the gap between him and Yuzu. Even though he has reached the extreme of Daozu and spied a hint of the mystery of Yuzu, he is still not Yuzu. What's more, the other party is not the first entry domain ancestor, not the powerful existence he can match. So Luin Daozu escaped. He tore apart the infinite time and space, and the life-saving objects protected his body, but it was still difficult to resist the mysterious domain ancestor. Just as he was about to fall, a mysterious big hand came out of nothingness and stopped the mysterious place for him. It was such an opportunity that Luin Daozu successfully escaped and mixed into a realm. Soon, all the memories were transferred. The ancestors are so powerful. Yi Tian couldn't help sighing. From his memory, he couldn't see the appearance of Yuzu at all, and even the traces of Yuzu's shots were extremely blurred, but the other party's breath even made it difficult for him to resist through memory. Such a terrifying existence is enough to kill him countless times. Even his master Shu Tiandaozu is no different from an ant in front of this kind of existence. Yi Tian, who originally thought that he was very strong, realized his weakness at this moment, and his strength just took advantage of the fact that the quasi-Dao world could not come to a powerful existence, so he showed his prestige. Not to mention, compared with the ancestors of the domain, any of the top true ancestors can instantly kill him at any time. Low-key, must be humble. Immediately, Yi Tian laughed again. This time, he not only saw the fight at the domain ancestor level, but even if it was just a memory picture, it also inspired him a lot. Moreover, he has obtained the memory inheritance of an invincible Taoist ancestor, which contains a lot of precious knowledge and a few Taoist techniques. It's just that this memory inheritance is still very lacking. In the true sense, it is only a small part of Luyin Daozu's memory, and it is not worth mentioning compared with the overall memory. But this memory is of great help to Yi Tian, and it will also be of great benefit for him to create his own exercises in the future. Yi Tian didn't charge Luyin Daozu's torso, not because he didn't want to charge it, but because he couldn't charge it. This torso is almost the core pillar of this world and is closely connected with the whole world. It is almost unrealistic for him to shake the whole world with that little power. Even if a Taoist ancestor came here, there is no way to take this torso, and it will even cause the power of the entire world to suppress, and the invincible Taoist has fallen for countless years. The burst of power is enough to kill a fourth or fifth heaven, the Taoist ancestor. However, on the whole, Yi Tian was quite satisfied. A memory inheritance, copy talent upgrade. These two benefits alone are enough to make Yi Tian's future bright. For flowers. Afterwards, Yi Tian's bloody figure left here and returned to the place where the main body was. Next, Yi Tian left this inheritance space, returned to the sacred mountain of life, and began to look for other guard-level life greens. I have found 2 holy stones of life, luck is good, I will leave if I find another one. Green Peak whispered. He is a escort class from the Green God City of the Life Green race, and the Green God City is the second tree city of the Life Green race. He is also one of the top geniuses of the Life Green clan generation, and his luck has always been very good. Not long after he entered the sacred mountain of life, he harvested 2 holy stones of life. Under normal circumstances, only 1 holy stone of life is enough for a escort rank, but the more obtained holy stone of life can be turned over to the clan in exchange for more resources. Of course, under this circumstance, one of the guards left, but was robbed by other people, that's it. The competition among the Life Green clan is very serious, and it is also common to kill each other within the sacred mountain of life, but as long as they do not kill each other and only plunder each other's property, the impact is not very big. Lu Feng was very confident in his own strength and believed that no one would dare to attack him, so he was not in a hurry to leave the mountain of life. However, there are only so many holy stones of life in the sacred mountain of life. He is very lucky to find 2, and it is not easy to find another one. A few hours passed, and Green Peak came to a valley. Suddenly, he sensed the fluctuation of the holy stone of life, and immediately became excited. I found another one, I'm so lucky. Green Peak said excitedly. He walked over and just picked up the holy stone of life. At this moment, the void solidified, and a figure emerged. Then, he lost consciousness, and his entire body turned into powder. This figure is Yi Tian. He used the copy talent to sense the existence of Green Peak, and came here, and instantly killed him with the air-splitting technique. Hey, I also harvested 3 holy stones of life, good luck. Yi Tian said with a smile. Immediately, another person suddenly appeared beside him, and it was Green Peak. Of course, this is not the real Green Peak, but the Green Peak that he copied, whether in terms of breath, life fluctuations, soul, and talent, it is exactly the same as Green Peak. The only difference is the memory. I saw. Green Peak waved his hand, took Yi Tian into the inner world, completely hidden, and then Green Peak flew away towards the mountain of life. Chapter 10 100,000 Harmony Treasures. The entrance to the mountain of life. The saint ancestors, great saint ancestors, and old ancestors of the Life Green clan stayed here. They were discussing which escort class would be able to obtain the holy stone of life, and who would dare to enter the land of inheritance. Get heritage. There was even a discussion about which escort team has the highest potential, and has the hope of advancing to the great sage ancestor and old ancestor in the future, and Yi Tian is the focus of their discussion. Because Yi Tian is so excellent, all aspects are perfect, the potential is absolutely high, and it is the object they focus on. Even other tree cities outside Bei'an City have heard of Yi Tian's reputation one after another. It can be seen that Yi Tian's reputation great. However, they could never have imagined that Yi Tian was actually someone from the outside world, otherwise they would feel so angry that they would smash Yi Tian to pieces. There is a escort class coming out. A saint ancestor said. Wow, the green 323 peaks rushed out from the inside of the mountain of life, with a look of relaxation and excitement. As soon as he came out, he took out 3 holy stones of life, kept one for himself, and exchanged the remaining 2 for the Life Green clan in exchange for a large amount of resources. And the deal is done on the spot. After Yi Tian's transaction was over, he announced that he would go back to retreat and cultivate. He didn't want to waste time, nor did he want to communicate too much with those holy ancestors and great ancestors. The more exchanges, the easier it would be to expose. Although his body is exactly the same as that of Green Peak, his memory is different. If he said something wrong and caused the Green clan to investigate, Yi Tian's body, who was hiding in Green Peak's internal space, would be discovered. So, Yi Tian quickly left the Mountain of Life and entered the Green God City. But Yi Tian didn't stay in Green God City much. He knew that there would definitely be turbulence over there, because Yi disappeared. Although he is Yi, other people don't know. His reincarnation was lifted, and the guard level leaf completely disappeared, and he could no longer use the ability of reincarnation in a short period of time. The disappearance of Yi will inevitably cause turmoil in the Life Green clan, and the senior management of the Life Green clan will definitely investigate. He does not want any accidents. Anyway, his current purpose has been achieved. There is no need to continue to stay in the Life Green clan. But before leaving, Yi Tian used the identity of Green Peak to exchange for a large amount of Harmony treasures. In the past, Yi Tian didn't understand the origin of the Harmony Taoist treasure, but now he accepted the memory inheritance of Luyin Daozu and immediately understood. Harmony treasures are divided into congenital treasures and acquired treasures, and congenital treasures have the highest value. 100% can make a true ancestor become a Taoist, and the value of acquired treasures is much lower. The key is that the acquired treasure can only be used to assist, and if you take it later, the effect is almost gone. The Haotian Hidao treasure uses a top-level innate source object, a trace of life source power condensed by top-level true ancestors, corresponding secret techniques, and a special environment. Under such circumstances, slowly cultivate, you can form a harmony treasure. Among them, the power of the source of life condensed by the top true ancestors is very precious, and the true ancestors dare not use it casually, otherwise it will hurt the foundation. But the life greens are different, they have no potential to advance to the ancestors, and the source of life is too strong, so don't be afraid. In addition, the world transformed from the corpse of Luyin Daozu is the most suitable for cultivating treasures of the Tao, so many treasures of the Tao can be born here. As for why the Promise Abyss can also give birth to the treasures of the Tao, that is the special nature of the Promise Abyss, but it is not the innate treasure of the Tao, but the power of the Promise Abyss is forcibly catalyzed. When Lu Yin Dao ancestor hid in the Promise Abyss, he studied this characteristic and developed the secret art of harmonizing treasures. However, on the whole, the value of the treasures cultivated by the life greens is not as good as the treasures of the Infinite Abyss. About 2%. But even so, under the advantage of quantity, the value of the treasures of the Life Green clan is too precious. Time passed day by day. Yi Tian has collected at least 100,000 pieces of Taoist treasures, which is the limit Yi Tian can collect. Although the Life Greens can easily cultivate the treasures, it also takes time. In addition, the Greens are consuming the treasures all the time, so the number of treasures cannot be too many. If it weren't for the Life Green clan not paying much attention to the Harmony treasures, otherwise Yi Tian would not be able to collect so many. When the 100,000 pieces of Harmony treasures were in hand, Yi Tian started to leave secretly. Along the way, Yi Tian relied on the detection method of duplicating his talent to avoid all the patrolling personnel and easily came to the passing world passage. Life Green race is not unable to leave this world, but follows the ancestral teachings and cannot leave casually. Coupled with the suppression of the rules of the outside world, the strong people above the ancestral level dare not go out. In addition, the monsters in the abyss are too weak, and the Life Green clan does not pay attention to it, so there is no force stationed in this world passage. So, Yi Tian easily left this world. Green God City. The Green Clan of Life also discovered that Green Peak was missing shortly after. They were not investigating Green Peak, but Yi disappeared, so they asked all the guards if anyone knew about the traces of Yi. Moreover, the Life Green clan prohibits killing their companions. If someone kills Yi, they will be punished severely. So, they contacted Green Peak to ask. But they couldn't get in touch, which means that Lu Feng was also missing. Soon, they found that Green Peak had left the Tree City through various secret techniques, and there was evidence that Green Peak had passed through the World Passage, left this world, and entered the Promise Abyss. As a result, they believed that Lu Feng was the murderer who killed Yi, but this statement was denied by many people. After all, from the point of view of the combat power on the bright side, Lu Feng should not be Yi's opponent. On this issue, the Life Greens quarreled for a long time. And at this moment, Yi Tian has returned to the Promise Abyss. Finally home, Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief. During this period of Life Green clan, he was really frightened. After all, it was too dangerous there. A bunch of true ancestor-level powerhouses could not come back if they were not careful. Afterwards, Yi Tian left from the core area of the Promise Abyss Shard, avoiding all the Abyss Lords along the way and not fighting with them. In this way, Yi Tian returned to the periphery of the Promise Abyss fragment. He didn't slaughter the disciples of the Beast Master sect, it was useless. After all, those Beast Master sect disciples are just a group of half-step true ancestor disciples, not the real high level, so killing them is useless. Moreover, the half-step true ancestors of other forces are constantly fighting with the disciples of the Imperial Beast sect like fragments of the Infinite Abyss. So, he doesn't need to worry about it. Besides, Yi Tian now does not lack the treasures of the Tao, and he does not need to stay in the ruins of the Promise Abyss fragment. So, Yi Tian returned to the outside world, back to the human race. Chapter 1051 The Dark Forbidden Power. Not long after Yi Tian came back, an unexpected person arrived. Master. Yi Tian was surprised that the Daozu Zushin, who had not appeared for a long time, actually appeared. Before, the big things like the Talent Ancestor Pool, his master Shu Tiandaozu did not appear. But now, he just came out of the world of the Shards of the Infinite Abyss, and his master actually came. Moreover, it is the incarnation of the Taoist ancestor of the master, the incarnation of the Taoist ancestor who has been retreating and cultivating in the ruins of the battlefield. However, what surprised Yi Tian was that his master's breath was much stronger than before. This was not an illusion but a real sense. Master, have you broken through? Yi Tian asked. His master, Shu Tiandaozu, was the third-level Tiandaozu before. If he made a breakthrough, it would be the fourth-level Tiandaozu. The fourth-level Tiandaozu was definitely a top existence in this realm. Today, there is only one known 5 heavenly Tao ancestor, and that is the first Tao ancestor of the transcendental force Daoshan, Daoshan Tao ancestor. One can imagine how powerful the 4th heavenly Tao ancestor is in this realm. I haven't completely broken through yet. Zushin Daozu smiled and said, but I have found a breakthrough method for my teacher. In the near future, it should be enough to break through to the realm of the 4th layer Tiandaozu. 1 inch. Then what are you talking about this time, master? Yi Tian was even more curious. It stands to reason that the Daozu of Shu Tian in this state of 29 should be in seclusion and should not be wandering around. Because of you, Zushin Daozu said. You came out of the shards of the Infinite Abyss, thinking that the master knew you. If you did not harvest enough treasures, you would not be able to come out now. And for the master, I heard that you were killed in the Infinite Abyss. I have seen a lot of abyss monsters in the Imperial Beast sect, and I should have obtained a lot of treasures. Master, shouldn't you be paying attention to hitting my Taoist treasure? Yi Tian rolled his eyes and said. How many treasures can you share? Seriously, Zushin's lineage really needs treasures, but they won't take your treasures in vain. There will definitely be enough treasures and opportunities to exchange with you. Shu Tiandaozu said seriously. Should be able to come up with a lot, master, you can tell me the number, I'll see if there are any. Yi Tian is ambiguous. At this time, Shu Tiandaozu was surprised. Listening to Yi Tian's luck, there are a lot of treasures in the way. Otherwise, he wouldn't be allowed to say the number. The situation of the Promise Abyss has long been investigated by others. Although there are treasures of the Tao, there are definitely not many. The core area may be more, but it is the territory of the Abyss Lord. No faction dares to send the half-step true ancestor. Deal with the Abyss Lord, or you will die. 100 harmonious treasures, are there? Zushin Daozu said a number. In his opinion, 100 copies of the treasures of the Tao are a lot. If you are lucky, it is enough to create 20 or 30 Taoist ancestors. If you are unlucky, at least 10 Taoist ancestors can be created. And in the entire Zushin lineage, there are currently no 10 Taoist ancestors. 100 copies, of course. Yi Tian was very sure and didn't feel distressed at all, which made Shu Tian Daozu's heart move and asked, what about the 500 copies? Have. Yi Tian nodded again. This time, Shu Tian Daozu took a deep breath and said an astonishing number, 3,000 copies. Have. Yi Tian nodded again. How many treasures do you have? Zushin Daozu couldn't help but ask curiously. It's more than what the master imagined, but the effect of the treasures that I have obtained is not very high, and most of them can only increase the effect by 10% to 20%. Even if I use multiple treasures, the effect after stacking may not be the same. Only 60 to 70%, even only 50%. Yi Tian confessed. Well, let's order 3,000 treasures from you for the teacher first. If it's not enough, how about ordering another batch? Zushin Daozu hesitated and said. Yes. Yi Tian agreed, and immediately asked, Master, do we have so many powerhouses in the true ancestors' lineage? Of course there is. Zushin Daozu smiled and said. The Zushin lineage has existed for a long time, and many true ancestors have naturally been born. Some of the true ancestors even fell into a state of sleep due to hopelessness in breaking through. Among them, there are a large number of top true ancestors. This time, the shards of the infinite abyss have appeared in the way treasures, and all the top powers are crazy. Otherwise, when so many half-step true ancestors have fallen in the abyss, the top big wide of the forces continue to send half-step true ancestors in. They really don't feel bad. But if they occupy the ruins of the infinite abyss, they can obtain a lot of treasures, and the entire force can give birth to a large number of Taoist ancestors. This is the real purpose. Compared with the top great forces and the transcendent forces, our Zushin lineage is too weak, but if a large number of Taoist ancestors are born, and the teacher breaks through to the 4th level of Taoist ancestors, then the Zushin lineage is too weak. It is even expected to become the 5th transcendental force. The disciple will definitely support Shizen and Zushin's lineage, but at this price. Yi Tian stared at Zushin Daozu closely, expecting Zushin Daozu to give him great opportunities and great benefits. Don't give him some common resources, that would be of no use to him. Well, there are a total of 39 Taoist traditions in the Zushin lineage, plus the 26 Taoist traditions obtained by the teacher in the battlefield ruins, all of which can be passed on to you. How about changing a Taoist heritage for a Taoist treasure? As for other treasures, they can be exchanged with the secret art books of Zushin's lineage, the materials of practice perception, and various rare treasures. 1. In addition, those top true ancestors who exchanged treasures with you, their treasures will also give you half of their treasures. After saying a lot of benefits, Shu Tian Daozu suddenly said solemnly, I will provide you with a real big chance for the teacher, which is a big chance in the dark forbidden area. Great opportunity in the dark forbidden area. Yi Tian took a deep breath and was really shocked. How mysterious is the dark forbidden area, Tao ancestors dare not step into it casually, and even the domain ancestors may not fully understand the dark forbidden area. A little chance in such a mysterious place is enough to make Daozu go crazy, and Zushin Daozu actually wants to give him a big chance in the dark forbidden area. Don't get excited first, Zushin Daozu quickly said. This big opportunity will be a little dangerous, if it is not foreseeing that your potential is too high. This time it has given Zushin Yi my such great benefits, I really can't find anything good. I will give you the opportunity, otherwise I will not give you that opportunity. You will be promoted to the true ancestor temporarily, and you must wait for the birth of a large number of Taoist ancestors in the Zushin lineage. I have the opportunity to take you to the dark forbidden area. As for that chance, it has something to do with the secrets of the dark forbidden area. Do you know what the purest power between heaven and earth is? Asked Zushin Daozu 323. Do not know. Yi Tian shook his head. It's the power of the dark taboo. Shu Tian Daozu said solemnly. The dark forbidden realm is a truly boundless realm, it is equivalent to an endless sea, and each of our realms, even the realm of the gods, is that it's just an isolated island in this sea. There are not many cultivation systems in each realm, and naturally there are not many power systems. Once the power of some realms goes to other realms, or to the dark forbidden realm, the power will be reduced. It has dropped a lot, but the power of the dark forbidden area is different. As long as you master the power of the dark forbidden area, you will not be weakened anywhere. The power of the dark forbidden area is the real eternal and pure power. But you know, Europe controls the dark forbidden power. Shu Tian Daozu stared at Yi Tian and asked. Yi Tian shook his head, expressing that he did not understand. To tell you the truth, I did not master the power of the dark taboo as a teacher. Many Taoist ancestors tried to master the power of the dark taboo, but they failed, and even fell into the dark forbidden area. The Forbidden Temple, one of the transcendent forces, was able to survive in the dark. The reason for opening up the base of power outside the forbidden area is because the master of the Forbidden Hall has mastered the power of the dark taboo. As a teacher, you will have a way to master the power of the dark taboo, but it must be before you are promoted to the true ancestor. Once you are promoted, when you reach the true ancestor, there is no way. After Shu Tian Daozu finished speaking, Yi Tian completely understood. Afterwards, Yi Tian took out 3,000 treasures, and Dao ancestor Shu Tian also gave a sect inheritance as well as treasures and resources. But this is just a deposit, and the resources will be delivered one after another. Chapter 1052 The New Taoist Ancestor of the Virtual World. Chaos, Virtual World. This is the Taoist realm of the Zushan lineage, a Taoist realm created by the Zushan Taoist ancestors. Any Taoist ancestor has the ability to create a Taoist realm, but this Taoist realm is different from the naturally born Taoist realm. The Taoist realm created by the ordinary first-level Taoist ancestors is much stronger than some big universes. Taoism is far inferior. And the virtual world is not an ordinary Tao world, and it is not weak in the Tao world. Now, the ontology of the virtual heaven ancestor left the void outside the quasi-Tao world and returned to the virtual world. For the departure of Zushan Daozu, the other Daozu did not respond. After all, it is currently impossible to enter the quasi-Tao world. Many Daozu often leave and return. This behavior is normal. But no one expected that the Zushan Daozu actually returned to the Zushan realm with 3,000 treasures. If you know, I am afraid that there will be a bunch of Taoist ancestors to surround and kill Zushan Taoist, and even the 4th-level Taoist will put down his face and shoot. After all, the Zushan Daozu is currently only the 3rd-layer Tian Daozu, and it is not the kind that is almost invincible among the 3rd-layer Tian Daozu. A few top 3rd-layer Tian Daozu outside a group of 2nd-layer Tian Daozu is enough to kill the Zushan Daozu. If the 4th heavenly Tao ancestor makes a move, he can easily suppress the Zushan Tao ancestor. It was precisely because he was worried about being exposed that Shu Tian Daozu did not speak up. The virtual world, a mysterious space. This is the sleeping place of the true ancestors of the Zushan lineage. The ancestors of Zushan are going to wake up these true ancestors and let them try to break through. Of course, there are still many active top true ancestors in the Zushan lineage, but most of the true ancestors are roaming in the chaos, or waiting outside the quasi-Tao world to enter the soon-to-be promoted Tao world. If Zushan Daozu summons back these top true ancestors, it will definitely attract the attention of other forces. Therefore, for these top true ancestors who have been sleeping for countless years to break through the realm of Taoist ancestors, absolutely no one noticed. Wake up! The voice of Zushan Daozu echoed in every corner of this sleeping space, and an ancient top true ancestor who was in deep sleep woke up. Boom! The top true ancestors flew out from the sleeping place, came to Zushan Daozu, and worshipped. Meet the master. Meet Daozu. 1. Meet the Daozu. Zushan Daozu looked at the nearly 100 top true ancestors in front of him and nodded with satisfaction. These top true ancestors have all reached the pinnacle on the way of true ancestors, and each of them is very powerful in combat, and several of them have killed ordinary first-layer heavenly Tao ancestors before the ancient years. It's a pity that they were born at an untimely time. They did not encounter such an opportunity as a fragment of the domain, and they did not break through to the realm of Taoist ancestors after practicing for a long time. The true ancestor is not an immortal existence. If one universe era is used as the epic year, the Tianjin can live for hundreds of universe eras, the true monarch can live for 10,000 universe eras, and the true ancestor can live for millions of universe eras. A cosmic era is an incomparably long time, and a million cosmic era is unimaginably long, but for Taoist ancestors, a million cosmic era is not very long. Therefore, the true ancestors who are about to die of old age in the chaos will take the initiative to fall asleep, so that the passage of time becomes slower, so that they can live for a long, long time. In fact, relying on the method of deep sleep, it is not a problem for the true ancestor to live for hundreds of millions of epochs. Because of the problem of longevity, unless there are special circumstances, a faction will not wake up the ancient ancestors who have been sleeping for a long time. Therefore, these hundreds of top true ancestors thought that the Zushan lineage encountered a catastrophe. Master, did the Zushan lineage be attacked by a powerful enemy? An ancient ancestor asked nervously. He is Shu Heng Junzu, the second disciple of Zushan Daozu. He followed Zushan Daozu when Zushan Daozu was very weak. Unfortunately, his talent was limited and he failed to step into the realm of Daozu, but he survived. Unlike many, the true ancestor died in exploration and battle. Zhuang, the Zushan lineage is very good, and there is no danger. This time to wake you up, There is a great opportunity for you, and this great opportunity can give you the hope of reaching the Daozu realm. Zushin Daozu smiled. What gives us hope to reach the realm of Taoist ancestors? Hundreds of ancient true ancestors were all in disbelief. They all fell into a deep sleep on their own initiative because they had no hope of breaking through, their lifespan was short, or they were tired of practicing. But now, Zushin Daozu said that they have the hope of becoming Daozu, which is incredible. Immediately, Zushin Daozu took out the treasures that combined the Tao and said, the biggest problem for you is the unity of spirit, energy and spirit, so that you can combine your own Taoism with spirit and spirit in one fell swoop, and each of these treasures can be combined. The hope of increasing 10% to 20%, if you refine multiple treasures, it will be enough to increase your chances by more than 50%. I believe that with there should be a high chance of becoming a Taoist ancestor. He Tao treasure, God, there is such a treasure. Hundreds of true ancestors are crazy, and they can't wait to snatch such treasures immediately, but they are not crazy enough to snatch treasures from the hands of Zushin Daozu, otherwise they are courting death. This is a treasure that one of my direct disciples got from a ruin. It is extremely precious. You must not reveal it, and everyone can obtain such treasures. But these are the treasures of my direct disciple. You need to give some resources and treasures in exchange for the treasures of the Tao. Everyone should take half of their net worth. This is not too much, right? Shu Tian Daozu suggested. Not too much. Hundreds of true ancestors said in succession. What is half of the net worth? For them, those treasure resources are useless. If they can exchange for a chance to hit the Taoist ancestors, even the entire net worth can be traded. Immediately, a famous true ancestor exchanged half of his net worth for 10 treasures of the Tao from the hands of Zushin Daozu. No matter how much more there is no use, it is a waste. Seeing the net worth of these true ancestors, Zushin Daozu was also a little moved. Although he was the founder of the Zushin lineage, he was also very limited in terms of resources. The accumulation of so many treasures is comparable to his net worth. And he is the 3rd level Heavenly Tao ancestor, who is about to be promoted to the 4th level Heavenly Tao ancestor. What a huge number of his 10% net worth. Sometimes, a treasure he obtained is enough to surpass the entire net worth of countless true ancestors. This shows how rich these true ancestors are. Of course, he did not have the idea of greed for these resources and treasures, and he would still hand them over to Yi Tian. Go for a breakthrough, and strive for all breakthroughs to become a Taoist ancestor. Shu Tian Daozu encouraged. He did not leave the virtual world, but was here to protect him to prevent anyone from disturbing them to hit the Tao ancestor realm. As time passed, hundreds of true ancestors began to attack the Tao ancestor realm in the virtual world, and the rules of the entire virtual world changed vaguely. Numerous disciples of the virtual world in the virtual world have vaguely sensed the changes in the virtual world, but they do not know what happened. This day 10 years later. Boom, the origin of Chaos Avenue came, and a stalwart figure was sitting in the avenue, merging with the avenue. This is the time to join the road, and it is at a critical moment for the road to join. Someone is joining the Tao. Which true ancestor is it? The countless disciples of the virtual world were shocked. Many disciples do not know this ancient true ancestor, but some people still recognize it. Okay, it is the true ancestor of Zhuang, the 2nd direct disciple of Zushin Daozu, an extremely ancient true ancestor, but he has no news for millions of Cosmos-era years, and it is rumored that he has died of old age. I didn't expect that it is now hitting the Tao ancestor realm. A true ancestor of the early days of the great Tao exclaimed. Soon, fusion came to the last step. Boom, endless golden light illuminated the entire virtual world, and golden flowers bloomed in this chaotic area. This is the golden flower of the avenue, the source of chaos congratulating the birth of a Taoist ancestor. In an instant, all the images disappeared, and a stalwart figure stood in the void, overlooking the endless life. Congratulations to Zhuang Daozu. Congratulations to Zhuang Daozu. Congratulations Zhuang Daozu Gong. Countless Zushin disciples congratulated. The birth of a Taoist ancestor made the Zushin lineage stronger, and all the disciples were very excited. Yes, just breaking through as the Taoist ancestor of the 1st level heaven. After practicing for a while, you can hit the 2nd level Taoist ancestor. Zushin Daozu commented. At this moment, another vision of the true ancestor hitting the Tao ancestor appeared. Chapter 1053. More than 100 Taoist ancestors were born. What's going on? How come another true ancestor hit the Tao ancestor realm today? Many disciples of the Zushin lineage were shocked. It stands to reason that it is almost impossible for the 2 true ancestors to hit the Tao ancestor realm at the same time. After all, the true ancestors all know each other, and such a serious event must choose a good day, and must adjust the state. At the same time, if they attack the Daozu realm, if the person in front fails to attack, it will definitely have an impact on the later true ancestor. Therefore, there has never been a situation where two true ancestors attack Dao ancestor at the same time. Soon, people also recognized this true ancestor, and he was also an extremely ancient true ancestor, the true ancestor of Chigu. Boom! Endless golden light bloomed, and the true ancestor of the owl bone also successfully broke through to the realm of Taoist ancestors. Two Taoist ancestors. In one day, the Zushan lineage has added two Taoist ancestors. What a glorious event this is! But soon, everyone was stunned. One after another, the true ancestors attacked the Daozu realm one after another, and from time to time there are visions of successful impact. With the passage of time, more and more new Taoist ancestors were born in the Zushan lineage. 3, 5, 8, plus 1, 20. What's going on? A true ancestor of the late Taoist lineage in the Zushan lineage asked the Tao ancestors who had just been promoted successfully. He thinks this is too weird. Is Daozu so successful? Although some people failed to attack, most of them succeeded. If the true ancestors of the Zushan lineage were so powerful, there would not be only a few Taoist ancestors over the long years. This is the secret of Zushan's lineage, which cannot be revealed for the time being. Zhuang Daozu said. 323. Seeing this, other people in the Zushan lineage did not dare to investigate. 3 years passed quickly, because the virtual world was completely blocked, and the eyes of the major forces were all on the ruins of the quasi-Dao world. No one paid attention to the situation in the virtual world. As a result, the news of the birth of a large number of Taoist ancestors in the Zushan lineage was not exposed at all, allowing the Zushan lineage to develop steadily. At the end of the 3 years, all the hundreds of true ancestors had been attacked. This time, 73 true ancestors were born in the Zushan lineage, and about 30 true ancestors failed to attack. For those true ancestors who failed to attack, their hopes of becoming Dao ancestors have been greatly reduced, and it is difficult to use Taoist treasures to attack Dao ancestor realm. But now that the relics of the domain are constantly appearing, there is still hope to hit the realm of Taoist ancestors. Zushan Daozu talked about the situation of the domain relics. These Taoist ancestors who failed to attack put their hopes on the domain relics, hoping to find a way to break through to become a Taoist through the domain relics. Then you can summon back those top primordial ancestors in the chaos. Zushan Daozu murmured. In the distant chaotic territory, somewhere in the ruins. True ancestor Dongshu, who was cultivating inside the ruins, opened his eyes. Master actually summoned me to return to the virtual world. Dongshu true ancestor is the 17th direct disciple of Shu Tian Dao ancestor, and he is also a relatively ancient true ancestor. CJFI, it is a pity that he has never found the opportunity to break through to become a Taoist ancestor. He has competed for the place of the ancestral monument several times, and all of them have failed. Therefore, for a long time, he has been wandering alone in the chaos, and has not returned to the virtual world for a long time, and the virtual ancestor has never contacted him. But now, there is a message from Zushan Daozu. It's time to go back. True ancestor Dongshu muttered. In the next moment, there was no one in the ruins. He is not the only true ancestor in a situation similar to Dongshu's true ancestor. One after another returned to the virtual world. Even the true ancestors who sat in the temporary station of the virtual world outside the quasi-Dao world returned to the virtual world, and those true ancestors who failed to attack the Taoist ancestors sat here instead. Such a move naturally attracted the attention of other forces, and they sent personnel to investigate the situation in the virtual world. Soon, they got the news. Impossible, how could the Zushan lineage give birth to 73 Taoist ancestors in just 3 years? The Dark God Dao ancestor of the Dark Temple roared angrily. After all, the Dark Temple is also a top power. There are more than 10 Taoist ancestors on the bright side, but in fact there are nearly 30. Influences like Zushan Yimai, the Dark Temple did not pay attention to it at all. But now, there are 73 Taoist ancestors in the Zushan lineage all of a sudden, and the entire force has almost 80 Taoist ancestors. It can be said that apart from the 4 transcendental forces, there are not many Taoist ancestors of the Zushan lineage at all. In an instant, the major top forces were jealous, and the forces that had some grudges with the Zushan lineage were even more flustered. Even the 4 transcendental forces can't sit still. If they continue to develop at the speed of Zushan's lineage, wouldn't they become the 5th transcendental force, or even surpass them? Check, you must know, why can the Zushan lineage give birth to so many Taoist ancestors? The Taoist ancestors of the top powers issued this order. But with the passage of time, the number of Taoist ancestors of the Zushan lineage is still increasing. 10 years have passed, and the number of Taoist ancestors in the Zushan lineage has exceeded 100, reaching more than 110. Although they are basically first-level Taoist ancestors, it is difficult for Taoist ancestors to kill each other. A few first-level Taoist ancestors are enough to hold down a second-level Taoist for a short time. This day, the Dark Temple, the Blood Moon sect, the Soul Eater sect, the Demonic sect, and the Sanmu Taijao clan, the 5 major forces dispatched 5 third-level Heavenly Tao ancestors and 32nd-level Heavenly Tao ancestors to ambush the Zushan Tao ancestor. They can't sit and watch the Zushan lineage grow, so as long as the Zushan Daozu is killed, the Zushan lineage will not be strong. They even dared to enter the Zushan lineage to explore the great secrets of the Zushan lineage, and maybe they could increase their respective forces many times. They thought that the raid could kill Zushan Daozu, but they didn't expect that Zushan Daozu's strength was infinitely close to the 4th layer Tian Daozu. The battle was fierce, and it lasted for 3 months. During the period, many Taoist ancestors from the Zushan lineage participated in the battle. In the end, 3 first-level Taoist ancestors were killed in the Zushan lineage, and more than 30 Taoist ancestors were severely injured. The 5 major forces were even worse. 4 of the 5 third-level Heavenly Tao ancestors fell, 32nd-level Heavenly Tao ancestors lost 18, and the rest fled with serious injuries. Among them, the Dark Temple lost the most, because the one that contributed the most belonged to the Dark Temple. After this battle, the Zushan lineage declared war on the Dark Temple, Blood Moon sect, Soul Eater sect, and Demon Sound sect ruins Sanmu Taijao clan, and they would never die. In fact, except for the Dark Temple, the other 3 Heavenly Tao ancestors of the 4 major forces have all fallen, and the strength of the entire force has dropped dramatically. One day after a month, the Sanmu Taijao clan was broken by the Zushan lineage, and the Sanmu Taijao clan was exterminated. A year later, the Soul Eater sect was exterminated by the Zushan lineage. 3 years later, the headquarters of the Blood Moon sect was destroyed, and only one Taoist ancestor fled into the Dark Forbidden area, which was considered to be destroyed. As for the Demonic Sound sect, they abandoned the headquarters early, and only chased and killed some of their true ancestors and their disciples, but did not find their Taoist ancestors. The Dark Temple is too mysterious, the headquarters does not know where, and the Zushan lineage cannot chase down the Taoist ancestors of the Dark Temple. But this battle played the imposing manner of Zushan's lineage, and there was a vague tendency to become the 5th transcendental force. The Zushan lineage has lost 3 Taoist ancestors this time, but more true ancestors have been promoted to Taoist ancestors, and there are also a large number of true ancestors in the middle and late stages of the avenues. Once they are promoted to the pinnacle of true ancestor, Shutian Dao ancestor will give them the treasures of harmony to help them advance. Righteousness. Yi Tian has been constantly learning about the situation of the virtual world during this time, and he felt relieved when he learned that the virtual world was victorious. There are 146 Dao ancestors. If you continue at this speed, you will soon surpass 200 Dao ancestors. Yi Tian murmured. But he is also very clear that there are not many Taoist ancestors at all. The number of Taoist ancestors from any medium-level 3-level heaven force in the realm exceeds that of the Zushan lineage, not to mention the number of Taoist ancestors from the upper 3-level heavenly forces, which is definitely a terrifying number. Wow, the void is rippling, and the incarnation of Zushan Daozu comes. Master, Yi Tian said respectfully, Teacher, immediately launch an attack on the real kingdoms of the Dark Temple, the Blood Moon sect, the Soul Eater sect, the Demonic sect, and the Sanmu Taijao clan, resolutely destroy the 5 real kingdoms, and cut off their hope of rising. Zushan Daozu said angrily. Yi Tian knew the reason for Zushan Daozu's anger. Although Zushan's lineage won this battle, he lost 3 Daozu, and one of them was a direct disciple of Zushan Daozu. Therefore, Shutian Daozu was so angry. Yes, Yi Tian replied. Chapter 1054 Yi Tian and #039, shot, the 5 real kingdoms are destroyed. The real kingdom of dark gods. As the most powerful of the 5 major forces, the true kingdom of void heaven is ready to attack the true kingdom of dark god. Judging from the number of half-step true ancestors and true monarchs, the true kingdom of void heaven is indeed inferior to true kingdom of dark god, but because of the existence of Yi Tian, true kingdom of dark god will definitely lose. This is also the reason why Shutian Daozu asked Yi Tian to destroy the 5 real kingdoms. If there is no Yi Tian existence, even if Shutian Daozu is angry, there is no way to destroy the 5 real kingdoms. After all, under the current circumstances, Daozu could not enter the quasi-Dao world, and at most sent the incarnation of Daozu to enter the quasi-Dao world. But if the Zushan faction sent more than 100 Taoist incarnations to deal with the 5 realms, the other forces would probably not agree, and they were also worried that the more than 100 Taoist incarnations of the Zushan lineage would attack their real country. In addition, a group of Taoist incarnations took action to destroy the real country, which in itself is a question worthy of criticism. Therefore, there is no problem in letting the false heavenly kingdom take action. It belongs to the same level of competition. Even if the 5 great kingdoms are destroyed, the other forces will not say anything. Dark God is really abroad. Countless true monarchs and many half-step true ancestors of Zushan Temple descended here one after another. In this battle, only the true monarch has the qualifications to participate in the battle, and Tianjin has no chance to participate. After all, Tianjin is too weak to even qualify as cannon fodder. Yi Tian leads all the combat power of the Zushan Temple, and the others will not be dissatisfied. With Yi Tian's powerful strength, all the half-step true ancestors of the Zushan Temple are very recognized and very reassured, otherwise they really don't have the confidence to fight the Dark God real kingdom. Wanfa Daozi, what do you mean by this? A message came from the Dark God realm and asked. The person who opened the mouth was the Ghost Shadow true monarch of the Dark God Temple. He once encountered a disciple of the Imperial Beast sect in the Promise Abyss. After he was lucky enough not to die, he withdrew from the Promise Abyss and returned to the Dark God real kingdom. In terms of strength, he definitely belongs to the top level in the Dark God real kingdom. But true monarch Ghost Shadow is very clear about his own strength, and he can't even beat any disciple of the Imperial Beast sect, but Yi Tian can easily slaughter the disciples of the Imperial Beast sect, and the strengths of the two are not on the same level. Therefore, true monarch Ghost Shadow was also very nervous, but he had to speak. But Yi Tian didn't bother to pay attention to true monarch Ghost Shadow, and directly led the countless powerhouses in the Void Heaven Hall to take action. Boom! The real country barrier of the Dark God real kingdom was torn apart directly, and countless true monarchs of the Void Heaven Palace and half-step true ancestors entered the Dark God real kingdom. At this time, Yi Tian sacrificed a strange object, merged into the void, and resisted the suppression from the real kingdom. Under normal circumstances, when outsiders enter the real kingdom of dark gods, the real kingdom of dark gods can use the power of the real kingdom to suppress the enemy, and even increase their own strength. But this situation is not impossible to deal with. The strange object that Yi Tian sacrificed can temporarily resist the suppression of the dark god real kingdom, but this kind of strange object is also relatively rare. There are not many similar strange things in the virtual world. But in order to destroy the true kingdom of the Dark God, Zushan Yimai did not hesitate to take out such strange things. Boom! Countless true monarchs and heavenly monarchs of the true kingdom of Dark God formed a battle formation, among which 3 half-step true ancestors and thousands of top true monarchs formed a battle formation and killed Yi Tian. The more the number of people in the battle formation, the better. If there is no tacit understanding, too many people will cause the power to drop greatly. Therefore, the great formation formed by these 3 half-step true ancestors and thousands of top true monarchs is already their limit, and they can just exert their strongest power. In the eyes of the Dark God real kingdom, although they can't beat Yi Tian together, they can at least block Yi Tian. At this moment, Yi Tian is hesitating whether or not to use the Dao technique. Once he casts the Dao technique, it is estimated that he has the Dao level natural talent. Although Dao level natal talent cannot be naturally possessed, it is not the only channel of talent ancestral pool, but other channels are too difficult, and the talent ancestral pool can continuously give birth to Dao level natal talent, which is why it is so famous. Even if I cast after a Dao technique, other people at most think that I got a big chance by luck and acquired a Dao level natural talent, and thus I practiced the Dao technique. Yi Tian thought to himself. Therefore, he is not ready to hide Daoism. Breakthrough. The terrifying power of space Taoism tore everything apart, and the void where the battle formation was located collapsed directly, and the bodies of the 3 half-step true ancestors and thousands of top true monarchs were directly torn and smashed, and they fell and died in an instant. Outside world, many Taoist incarnations were watching this battle, and naturally noticed Yi Tian's shot. Immediately, countless Taoist ancestors were shocked. Daoshu, how is it possible? Wanfa Daozi is only a half-step true ancestor, how could he possibly perform Taoism? Wanfa Daozi is actually able to perform Taoism and cultivate it to the perfect state. I am afraid that he has a Taoist natural talent. Wanfa Daozi has never entered the talent ancestral pool. Where did the Dao level natural talent come from? Talent Ancestral Pond is not the only place where you can obtain Dao-level natural talent, but it is very difficult to use other methods. It seems that Wanfa Daozi had a real chance against the sky, and thus obtained Dao-level natural talent. This luck. For a time, many Taoist ancestors were jealous. Yi Tian can obtain the natural talent of Dao, and if the opportunity is given to them, they can also obtain the natural talent of Dao. Once they have obtained the Dao-level natural talent, their strength cannot be improved in a short period of time, but in the long run, their strength will definitely increase a lot. On the battlefield of the Dark God Real Kingdom, Yi Tian used the sky-splitting technique to kill a large number of true monarchs and half-step true ancestors, and almost no one could resist his casual blow. Even if there are many true monarchs and half-step true ancestors who have life-saving things, they can't save their lives, and they all die. As time went by, the number of half-step true ancestors of the Dark God Real Kingdom became less and less, and the number of true monarchs also became less and less, and they began to collapse. 3 days later, except for a few half-step true ancestors and some true monarchs, the powerhouses of the Dark God True Kingdom were almost wiped out. Next, the Zushan Temple began to sweep the Dark God Real Kingdom, pulling out all the foundations of the Dark God realm. As for the countless creatures in the Dark God Real Kingdom, they accepted them one by one. These can also be regarded as the material of the illusory country in the future, and there is no need to destroy them. And those half-step true ancestors and true monarchs who escaped were also chased by Yi Tian. For flowers, how terrifying is Yi Tian's tracking ability? These half-step true ancestors and true monarchs can't escape at all, and even one half-step true ancestor escaped into the battlefield ruins and the fragments of the infinite abyss, and was also found by Yi Tian, killing them one by one. 1 year after the renovation of the Zushan Temple, they successively attacked the True Kingdom of Blood Moon, True Kingdom of Soul Eater, True Kingdom of Demonic Sound, and True Kingdom of Sanmu Taijiao. These 4 real kingdoms have long known the situation of the headquarters forces in the chaos, and there is no heart for a battle at all. Nearly 90% of the powerhouses have fled the real kingdoms, and even withdrew from their respective forces and switched to other forces. There is no way for the Zushan Temple to hunt down and kill those who converted to his faction, so it only slaughtered the people of the 4 great kingdoms. Under such circumstances, the 4 great kingdoms have no resistance at all, nor will they have any support. In just 10 days, the 4 real kingdoms will be completely destroyed. So far, the 5 real kingdoms have all disappeared, and the virtual real kingdom has also lost a lot, but this time the wealth of the 5 real kingdoms has been swallowed up, and a large number of real monarchs and half-step real ancestors can definitely be cultivated again in a short period of time. Therefore, the false innocent kingdom definitely made a profit this time. As a leader, Yi Tian has also gained a lot, and he has obtained a lot of inheritances and inheritance of many sects, and there is no shortage of inheritance all at once. After destroying the 5 true kingdoms, the true kingdom of Void Heaven and the palace of Void Heaven began to fall silent. At this time, the eyes of other forces were all attracted by the ruins of the Promise Abyss. After each piece of Taoist treasures were sent out of the infinite abyss, some forces began to give birth to Taoist ancestors one after another, but each force basically only gave birth to 1 or 2 Taoist ancestors, which was far worse than the progress of the virtual world. In just a few hundred years, the number of Taoist ancestors in the Zushan lineage was too terrifying, already exceeding 200. At the beginning, many forces also thought about suppressing or even destroying the Zushan lineage, but with the fact that the Zushan lineage had more than 200 ancestors, many forces were persuaded. What shocked the countless top powers and transcendental forces even more was that the Zushan Daozu showed the strength of the 4th layer Tian Daozu, and all the Daozes were stunned at once. The 4th level Heavenly Tao ancestor has always been only possessed by the 4 great transcendental forces, which can easily suppress the 3rd level Heavenly Tao ancestor, and even the transcendental forces will not casually use a 4th level Heavenly Tao ancestor. With the fact that the Zushan lineage has a 4th level Taoist ancestor, the Zushan lineage immediately entered the ranks of transcendental forces, became the 5th transcendental force in this chaotic realm, and was recognized by the 4 transcendental forces. Then, a message came out. The reason why so many Tao ancestors were born in the Zushan lineage was because Yi Tian, the son of Wanfa Tao, obtained a large number of Taoist treasures in the Promise Abyss. This secret was revealed, and all the forces suddenly realized, and they began to frantically invest in the power of the fragments of the infinite abyss, constantly sending half-step true ancestors to enter. But they are destined to not be able to get too many treasures, and forcibly invest their strength. It is only a heavy loss. Yi Tian doesn't pay attention to these things anymore, he honestly retreats and cultivates to improve his cultivation. His master, Zushan Daozu, said that when his cultivation base reaches the pinnacle of the half-step true ancestor, he will take him into the dark forbidden area to accept that amazing big opportunity. In this regard, he is very curious and looking forward to it. Chapter 1055 Go to the dark forbidden area. In the following years, Yi Tian kept a low profile and devoted all his efforts to comprehension and cultivation. After Xiao Yu and Yi Yu were reincarnated and rebuilt, they also gradually reached the realm of true monarchs. At the same time, a large number of half-step true ancestors have been born in the entire quasi-Dao realm, and even the human race has reached dozens of half-step true ancestors. Of course, this was thanks to Yi Tian's contribution to the human race. Yi Tian now has too many resources, more resources than many Taoist ancestors. Just throwing out a little resource is enough for the race to cultivate a large number of half-step true ancestors. If it weren't for the restrictions of the quasi-Dao world, the human race would probably be able to give birth to the true ancestor. In the blink of an eye, millions of years have passed. During this period, a turmoil broke out in the Promise Abyss. It was a war between the top powers and the Beast sect. Dozens of true ancestor-level Abyss lords of the Beast sect appeared and slaughtered countless half-step true ancestors and true monarch. The major forces have suffered heavy losses. But these dozens of true ancestors, under the rules of the quasi-Dao realm, plus the damage of the half-step true ancestor, 323, fell to their deaths one after another. But the Promise Abyss fragment is still controlled by a part of the area of the Imperial Beast sect. That area is a forbidden area and cannot be stepped into. Once you step into it, you will undoubtedly die. And some areas in the periphery are controlled by the major top powers, but unfortunately there are not many treasures and the value is not large. Gradually, no one cares about the fragments of the Promise Abyss. After all, the major forces lost too much in the Promise Abyss, and more Abyss monsters were gradually born there, and they couldn't keep it at all. The benefits are not proportional to the losses. Who will continue to send troops to the Promise Abyss? And just like that, this matter came to an end. The fusion of the soul and the Tao is almost 80%. My soul and the Tao are too powerful, far surpassing others by many times. It takes a long time to fully integrate. Yi Tian muttered, but he is also very clear that he mainly spends a lot of time on comprehension and cultivation of Taoism. Millions of years ago, he only knew two Tao techniques, a space-splitting technique, and a space escape technique. But now, Yi Tian has become a five-door Taoist technique. These five Taoist techniques are the Defense Taoist, Zijin True Body, the Blocking Taoist Zongtian Emperor Royal Seal, the Attacking Taoist Ten Heaven Prison Dragon, and the Ice-based Taoist Lanyu Jubing. The practice of these five sects has greatly increased Yi Tian's strength, and the means have been enriched, and there is almost no weakness. Overall, Yi Tian's current strength is at least 5 times stronger than a million years ago. The quasi-Dao world is growing all the time now, but even at this rate, it will take a long time for the quasi-Dao world to transform into a Dao world, but as time goes by, the true ancestors may be able to use secret techniques. Entering the quasi-Dao world, the sleeping true ancestors of the realm forces may also wake up. At that time, the situation of the entire quasi-Dao world will be complicated. Yi Tian exclaimed, but he has no way to stop this change. He can only continue to strengthen his strength, protect the human race, protect his relatives, and protect the Zushan temple. Another few years passed. On this day, the incarnation of Zushan Daozu came. Master, Yi Tian said respectfully, teacher, it's almost time. Although you haven't reached the ultimate half-step true ancestor, you can go to the dark forbidden area. The situation in the quasi-Dao world is changing very quickly. I am worried that the time will drag on for a long time, and you will have no time later. It's time to leave the quasi-Dao world. Now is at least a period of relaxation, just right to leave, and it won't attract too much attention. Zushan Daozu said. Master, let's go. Yi Tian nodded. Immediately, Yi Tian tore the barrier of the quasi-Dao world and left the quasi-Dao world. As soon as he left the quasi-Dao realm, Shu Tian Dao ancestor body greeted Yi Tian, took Yi Tian away secretly, and escaped from chaos. Yi Tian entered chaos for the first time and felt the hugeness of chaos. Compared with chaos, even the quasi-Dao world is not worth mentioning, as if it is a small boat in the sea. However, in the chaos, Yi Tian's speed can be accelerated to a very fast level, and he can easily cross the space, which is very convenient for rushing. But Yi Tian still let Zushan Daozu take him on the road, otherwise, with his cultivation, it would take a long time to go to the place of opportunity in the dark forbidden area. Yi Tian's quasi-Dao world is actually not far from the forbidden area of darkness, but the place where the Dao ancestor of Shu Tian took Yi Tian to is not in the same direction as the forbidden area of darkness here, but the other direction. But the dark forbidden area is not suitable for rushing, so you must enter from the edge of the nearest dark forbidden area, so as to ensure safety and speed. In a flash, a month has passed. Shu Tian Dao ancestor brought Yi Tian to an endless dark area. Primal chaos was darker to ordinary people, but in the eyes of the half-step true ancestor, it was no different from the daytime. But the area in front of you is really dark. This kind of darkness seems to be above the rules. I am afraid that even the rules of light cannot illuminate this area. This is the forbidden area of darkness. Zushin Daozu pointed to the dark area and said. Approaching the dark forbidden area, Yi Tian felt the great terror in the dark, as if there was an endless aura of fear pouring into his body. It's hard to stay here before entering the dark forbidden area. If you enter the dark forbidden area, it will be even more terrifying. Yi Tian thought so. This is for you. Zushin Daozu took out a black leaf and handed it to Yi Tian. This is the dark leaf, which can resist the power invasion of the dark forbidden area, otherwise even the true ancestors can't be in the dark forbidden area. To survive, only Taoist ancestors can barely survive, but they only dare to survive in the periphery. Yi Tian accepted the dark leaf and wore it on his body, and immediately felt much better. Remember, once you enter the dark forbidden area, no matter what you hear or see, don't touch it, otherwise you will easily encounter terrible things, and even being a teacher may not be able to protect you. Tian Daozu reminded. Yi Tian nodded, indicating that he knew. Soon, the two entered the dark forbidden area. As soon as he entered the dark forbidden area, Yi Tian felt a terrifying force invaded his body, but most of them were blocked by the dark leaves, but the remaining power also made him extremely uncomfortable. Shu Tian Dao ancestor protects Yi Tian constantly shuttles in the dark forbidden area, flying towards the unknown area. Along the way, I heard all kinds of strange sounds for 10 days, as if I could see King Jing flying by, and I almost died several times. But when I thought of the reminder from Zushin Daozu before, I held back. Besides, if there is really something, he can discover it. How could Daozu Zushin not be able to discover it? Is it illusion, or is it really something special? Yi Tian was curious, but his strength is too weak. This kind of thing is not something he can study, otherwise he will not know how to die. This flight is a full 3 days. At this time, Yi Tian was tormented, and his body was severely injured. The most important thing was that his heart 5.8 spirit was impacted. The influence made it difficult for him to calm down, as if he had been tortured endlessly. Master, the headquarters of the Forbidden Hall is located in the Forbidden Area of Darkness, but the Forbidden Area of Darkness is so terrifying, they still have true monarch disciples, wouldn't they be dead if they go out? Yi Tian couldn't help asking. After all, he looks like this, the disciples of the Forbidden Hall are probably even more unbearable, the weak disciples will die if they go out. Zushin Daozu explained. The body refining technique of the Forbidden Hall has the effect of weakly resisting the power of the dark forbidden area, and they generally do not go out. In addition, it is said that the headquarters of the Forbidden Hall is constantly away from the boundary. Even if it is you, fly for a few minutes. Just went out, and it has little effect. If you are in a deep position in the dark forbidden area, it is purely courting death. So it is. Yi Tian understood. After a while, Yi Tian finally heard the long-awaited sentence. Arrive, Zushin Daozu said in a low voice. Chapter 1056 Initial Realm. Third update. Yi Tian looked around and saw that the dark restricted area ahead was still dark. Even with his half-step true ancestor realm, it was difficult to detect anything, and copying talent could only detect gifted creatures, and it didn't work here. Master, this disciple didn't see anything. Yi Tian said. Of course you can't see it. Zushin Daozu said with a smile. You are only half-step into the realm of the real ancestors, and if you don't reach the realm of Daozu, you can't find the traces here at all. When I discovered this place, it was already the second-level Taoist ancestor. Unfortunately, for me in the Daozu realm, the chance here is useless. Don't resist, I will take you in for the teacher. Shu Tian Dao ancestor grabbed Yi Tian and used the power of Dao ancestor level to break through a layer of barriers and come to another small world. Here is. Yi Tian saw a small world, similar to the forbidden area of darkness, but there was an aura of vitality here. Moreover, there is a large black lake. In the center of the black lake is a black lotus. The black lotus is about 10 meters in diameter. It is filled with the power of the dark forbidden area, which brings a great sense of oppression to Yi Tian. This is an extremely rare initial realm in the dark forbidden realm. The ancestral way of the virtual world. Initial realm. Yi Tian didn't understand. Zhu Shendaozu explained. You should know the realm of the gods and the realm of ours. In fact, our realm has no name, and no one has named these 29 realms, because there is no need, if you really want to name it, can be called the Daoshan realm. After all, Daoshan is the pioneer of our realm practice system. This is their due glory. There are many realms in the dark forbidden realm, which are almost impossible to connect with each other, but the realm, how did the realm come from? Is it possible that it was born from the beginning? Maybe some realms were opened up by supreme beings, but most realms were definitely born naturally. The realm has evolved. There are many initial realms in the dark forbidden realm, and very few of them have the potential to grow and will continue to grow until they evolve into a real realm. This initial realm is impossible, a kind of growth, but its value is unimaginable. Shu Tian Daozu said this, Yi Tian completely understood, and finally understood the value of the initial realm. Master, can this initial realm be used as a base to build a power similar to the Forbidden Temple here? Yi Tian asked. No, Zhu Shendaozu shook his head, the power of the dark taboo here is not controlled by the teacher. Although staying here is better than the dark forbidden area, the true ancestor can't survive for a long time, and he can't even survive. How to cultivate? Even as a teacher, there is no way to cultivate with peace of mind in such an environment, and the world where the Forbidden Palace is located was opened up by the master of the Forbidden Palace, and there is no dark forbidden power in it, so it is possible to open up a transcendent force. Master, you said let me have the dark forbidden power, what should I do? Yi Tian said with anticipation. Go to the Black Lotus, sit cross-legged on the Black Lotus, swallow a lotus seed, and then endure the invasion of the dark and forbidden power of the Forbidden Lake. As long as you can bear it, you can transform a body of divine power into a dark and taboo divine power. In this case, once you become the true ancestor, your true ancestor's power is equivalent to possessing the dark taboo attribute, and the power is at least several times stronger than the normal true ancestor's power. Moreover, you also have the hope of becoming a forbidden body. What is a forbidden body? Yi Tian wondered. In the past, no one knew about the forbidden body, but the master of the Forbidden Hall fought against Daoshan Daozu countless years ago. With the strength of the 4th layer Tian Daozu, he only fell into the hands of Daoshan Daozu in the 5th layer Tian Daozu realm. Downwind, and the forbidden body forcefully made Daoshan Daozu unable to take him. Since then, the secrets of the forbidden body have been exposed. Using the dark and forbidden power to temper the body will form a forbidden body and surpass the world. All physiques, non-special strengths, can't smash the forbidden body at all. If you have practiced the forbidden body, even if you are only half-step true ancestor realm now, the top true ancestor can't kill you, but can only seal you. Zhu Shendaozu narrated. What, the forbidden body is so terrifying? Yi Tian was shocked. He is very aware of the power of the top true ancestor, and with his current strength, facing that kind of top true ancestor, I am afraid that he will still be killed in seconds. But if he has a forbidden body, the top true ancestor can't kill him, what is the concept? Although it can be sealed, if the speed is fast enough and the means are enough, then there is no need to be afraid of the top true ancestor, and even as long as the Taoist ancestor does not make a move, he will not be afraid of everything. Master, is it dangerous? Yi Tian asked. Of course it's dangerous. Shu Tiandaozu said solemnly. To be honest, if you are in the realm of half-step true ancestors, I am afraid that you have no hope of success and will fall here. But once you become true ancestors, the power of true ancestors is fixed, and then there is no way to change it. The power of the true ancestor is actually the prototype of Taoism. Once it is finalized, there is no way to change it. Therefore, you can only master the power of the dark taboo when you are half-step true ancestors. Taboo attribute. According to my teacher's calculations, there is no hope for others in the Zushan lineage, but you have hope. Although my teacher is not clear, how can you master the dark taboo power, but I still bring you here. If you really can't do it, then don't try. Once you try, you can't stop in the middle. Yi Tian was silent, and began to think about whether to give it a try. Suddenly, Yi Tian's eyes gleamed, and he affirmed, Master, this disciple is willing to give it a try. Are you sure? Shu Tian Daozu asked. There is a certain degree of confidence. Yi Tian said quickly. The disciple has a special talent, can show a clone that is exactly the same as the main body, you can use the clone instead of testing. Clone, can this work? Shu Tian Daozu was a little suspicious. In his opinion, the clone is not comparable to the main body at all. The clone is only the manifestation of power, but it is not a real body at all. Even if it is a special clone method, it can be practiced reluctantly, but it still cannot ban the main body. But this time the test is different, a little mistake will fall, and the clone will be used instead of the main body. Even if the clone is successful, the main body will most likely die. But when Yi Tian's clone appeared, Shu Tian Daozu was shocked. Exactly the same. Shu Tian Daozu is sure that under his investigation, Yi Tian's clone is exactly the same as the main body, even the breath of every cell, the fluctuation of the law, the fluctuation of the power, the breath of the soul, everything is exactly the same, like a copy. What avatar is this? Zushin Daozu really wanted to ask such a question, but he didn't ask it. He knew that this was Yi Tian's secret. Yi Tian was able to tell him that he already trusted him, so he naturally wouldn't delve into it too much. You can give it a try. Zushin Daozu agreed. Wow. Yi Tian's copied body flew towards the Black Lotus. Zushin Daozu is naturally not clear. This copy talent is just the same as the original body, and there is no difference. Once this body successfully masters the dark taboo power, the original body can also master the dark taboo power. There are lotus seeds on the Black Lotus. Yi Tian took out one, swallowed it, and started refining the lotus seeds. Boom! The dark forbidden power lake surged, and a large amount of dark forbidden power poured into Yi Tian's body. Refinement begins. Ah! The endless pain came, which was very similar to the pain Yi Tian experienced when he copied his talent, but the pain seemed to be 1,000 times stronger. If it wasn't for Yi Tian's powerful soul and his ability to withstand far beyond before, he would have been unconscious or even shattered. Under this circumstance, it would be as difficult to refine the dark taboo power. I'm going, it's so difficult, how did the Lord of the Forbidden Palace succeed? Yi Tian has enough reasons to suspect that the Lord of the Forbidden Temple must have acquired some amazing inheritance or treasure, so that he can enter the dark taboo power at the half-step true ancestor realm, find an initial realm, and then control the dark taboo realm, force. And he has nothing but himself. Soon, bang, Yi Tian's body failed to control the dark taboo power, exploded, was swallowed by the dark taboo power, and fell. Failed. Yi Tian did not have any disappointment, but instead saw hope. Because he has experience, the next time will definitely be better than this time. Master, this talent of mine can only be used once in 10,000 years. I need to enter the time acceleration environment and come out after 10,000 years. Yi Tian recounted. Immediately, Shu Tian Daozu personally arranged the time acceleration formation for Yi Tian, and personally controlled the time to accelerate 100,000 times to let Yi Tian spend 10,000 years in just over a month. After coming out of the time acceleration environment, Yi Tian copied his own body again and started the second attempt. Chapter 1057 Control the Power of the Dark Taboo. First. The second attempt, like the first attempt, ended in failure, and the cloned body shattered directly. But the second attempt to temper it took a little longer than the first time, and it allowed Yi Tian to find a little insight in law, and it also gave him a little understanding of the dark taboo power. Strictly speaking, the power of the dark taboo is also a source of power, but it is the most primitive power of the source, extremely violent and powerful, and the power of the source of the chaos Tao in the realm seems to be a weakened version, and also after removing the powerful forbidden power, only the source remains. It can be said that the dark taboo power is the real original and purest power, but it is also the most difficult to master. Seeing that Yi Tian's second attempt failed, Shu Tian Dao ancestor was not disappointed, but rather looked forward to it. After all, he could also see that Yi Tian's second attempt was better than the first. If he continued to try, he might really be able to master the dark taboo power. More importantly, Yi Tian did this without any danger. Teacher, I'll give you 100,000 times faster time for the master, so that you can recover as soon as possible. Zushin Daozu said quickly. Yi Tian nodded in response. Under the acceleration of 100,000 times, Yi Tian has spent 10,000 years, and the ability to copy his body can be used again. Just like this, Yi Tian tried again and again. 10 times. Every attempt allowed Yi Tian to accumulate more experience and have more insights. In the 12th attempt, Yi Tian's body continued to absorb and refine the dark taboo power, and it remained in a stable state. After a full month, Yi Tian finally succeeded in refining a trace of dark taboo power. Although his body was severely eroded, he successfully refined a trace of dark taboo power. This is a successful start. Immediately, he used this trace of dark taboo power to begin to fuse with his body, tempering his body, and absorbing the remaining dark taboo power inside his body. In this way, Yi Tian's body began to recover, and the dark forbidden power of refining was traced one after another. A long time passed before Yi Tian finally took control of the dark taboo power. At this time, he can already use the dark taboo power to temper his body, strengthen his physical power, and even influence his own divine power, and slowly endow the divine power with certain characteristics. Once promoted to the true ancestor level, the divine power will immediately transform into the dark forbidden true ancestor power. Success. Yi Tian and Shu Tian Daozu are very happy. However, Yi Tian didn't let the main body to test directly. After all, it was only a success, and it was not perfect. Although he had mastered the dark taboo power, his foundation was affected. Therefore, Yi Tian has to try many times, and while ensuring the success rate, he must also ensure that the foundation is intact, and strive to perfectly control the dark taboo power. Afterwards, Yi Tian carried out several more experiments, almost every time he succeeded, and he completely controlled the dark taboo power almost without injury. Teacher, it's alright, let your body try to refine the dark taboo power, and completely control him. Zushin Daozu urged. Yi Tian nodded, the body flew up the black lotus, swallowed a lotus seed, and began to refine the dark forbidden power. Time passed slowly. In just 3 days, Yi Tian mastered a trace of the dark taboo power, and after a month, he perfectly controlled the dark taboo power and began to temper his body. Originally, his physical body had reached a limit, but under the tempering of the dark forbidden power, the strength of the physical body began to increase again, and the growth rate was not slow. Teacher, if you practice for a while longer, try again to see if you can refine that black lotus into your body. This is a source of dark taboo power. If you can refine it, you will be in the quasi-Dao world in the future. You can cultivate the dark forbidden power, which will be of great help for you to condense the forbidden body in the future. Shu Tian Daozu reminded, Master, let me try it. Yi Tian said lightly. He tried to refine the black lotus at first, but he had too little dark taboo power to refine the black lotus. So, Yi Tian continued to practice and controlled more and more dark forbidden powers. A full 10 years have passed, and Yi Tian was able to initially refine the black lotus, and this refining has passed 100 years. This day, boom, the dark forbidden lake shook, and the forbidden black lotus slowly escaped from the forbidden lake and was refined into the body by Yi Tian. Afterwards, Yi Tian urged the forbidden black lotus to swallow the countless dark forbidden lakes. After a long time, the forbidden black lotus swallowed. I don't know how long it will take before a taboo black lotus can be born again here. Yi Tian exclaimed. The dark taboo power has been controlled, Yi Tian will not stay here any longer. Under the escort of Daozu Zushin, Yi Tian left the forbidden area of darkness and returned to the realm of Quasi-Dao. During this period, there was no suspicion of any force. Quasi-Dao world, human territory. After Yi Tian came back, he studied the dark forbidden power. But for now, the power of the dark taboo is not very helpful to him. Because it is too small, it does hurt the enemy, but the injury is not that big. Of course, if the attack is mixed with some dark taboo power, it can also increase a certain amount of combat power. But Yi Tian's strongest means at present is Taoism. The dark taboo power and Taoism cannot be integrated, so naturally there is no way to greatly increase the combat power. For Yi Tian, only after he has advanced to the true ancestor can the effect of the dark taboo power be brought into full play, and his strength will skyrocket a lot. Right now, his task is to raise the cultivation base to the limit of the half-step true ancestor, and then cultivate a door technique to the level of perfection or even the limit. As the years go by, the changes in the quasi-Dao world are getting bigger and bigger. For example, at the level of gods, there are more and more 10-star gods, and the inheritance of the relics in the realm continues to appear, and the entire cultivation system has undergone tremendous changes. Coupled with sufficient resources, it is not impossible to hit the 10-star gods matter. Therefore, under such circumstances, there is no way for a non-10-star god general to worship under the sect of Taoist ancestors. As for more than 9, the 9-star gods who have been arrogant in the world have now become ordinary. And these 9-star gods and 10-star gods became heavenly sovereigns and true sovereigns one after another, crushing the older generation of true sovereigns one after another. It can be said that the entire quasi-Dao world is ushering in a new reshuffle. Those old half-step true ancestors were defeated by the new half-step true ancestors, and the half-step true ancestors who were as strong as Longhai Zhenjin were gradually chased by some late-stage talents in the Zushin temple, and even a few people surpassed Longhai Zhen. Sir. But there is one person in the dimension, no one dares to provoke, that is Yi Tian. There was a half-step true ancestor who tried to provoke Yi Tian, but was killed by Yi Tian with one finger in the air. shocking countless half-step true ancestors, and no one dared to challenge Yi Tian casually. Okay. In a flash, thousands of years have passed. The soul and the avenue are fused to the limit, and they can hit the true ancestor at any time. Taoism has practiced more than a dozen doors, and each of them has reached the limit level. 1. Yi Tian muttered, but his biggest progress is the control of the dark taboo power. At present, he has made his body extremely powerful, and the dark taboo power he controls can almost be attacked. If the dark forbidden power forms a spear, it is comparable to the one blow of Taoism. But at the level of Yi Tian, the dark taboo power is also difficult to grow, and it must be promoted to the true ancestor level before it can progress again. It can be said that Yi Tian has grown to the limit at the half-step true ancestor level, and if he wants to improve again, he can only advance to the half-step true ancestor. Many half-step true ancestors are also in this state. However, if the quasi-Dao world is not promoted to the Dao world for one day, other people dare not attack the real ancestor realm casually, otherwise there will be great defects and even the risk of falling. After waiting for hundreds of thousands of years, the quasi-Dao world finally ushered in a huge change. Chapter 1058 The Ancient World of Xuanshu, complete. 2nd. Boom. The entire quasi-Dao world is shaking, constantly swallowing the primordial energy of chaos in the chaos, growing wildly. This is a good thing for countless people, but soon the Taoist ancestors discovered that something was wrong. This is not the rhythm of being promoted to Taoism. Strange, according to our speculation, the quasi-Dao world will not be promoted to the Dao world now, at least it will take billions of years. What is going on in this situation now? It is definitely not the promotion of the Dao world. We are all familiar with the Dao world, the signs of promotion are not like this, and the birth of the Dao world will cause the origin of the Dao to come, and give the name of the Dao world, but this is not the case now. 1. It's not the promotion of Dao realm, but it is being promoted, but isn't the Dao realm above the Dao realm? Many Taoist ancestors wondered, this situation is too strange. Suddenly, a 4th-level Taoist ancestor in the Forbidden Temple, the Blood Crystal Taoist said, this is not a promotion to the Taoist world, but a promotion to the ancient world. Ancient world, many Taoist ancestors have been puzzled. They have not heard of the ancient world. Although some worlds are named after the ancient world, they are definitely not the ancient world that the Blood Crystal Taoist said. What is the ancient world? Asked the Taoist ancestor of Tianshan Mountain. At this time, many Taoist ancestors were surprised. As the second mountain master of the first transcendental force, Taoist, Tianshan Taoist did not even know the ancient world. 340 This is the oldest transcendental force, and it should still be above the Forbidden Hall in terms of background. Blood Crystal Daozu said with a smile, it's normal for Tianshan Daozu not to know the ancient world. Our Forbidden Hall often wanders in the dark forbidden area, so we have more knowledge. The so-called ancient world is similar to the Taoist world, the only difference is the ancient world. The rules are not controlled by the rules of the realm. That is to say, once the ancient realm is formed, the source of the chaos Tao in our realm cannot invade the ancient realm. The rules of each ancient realm are different, because I don't know the place in front of me. What are the rules of the ancient world? But all ancient worlds have a characteristic, that is, the restriction of Taoist ancestors. For example, we can enter the Taoist world, but we cannot enter the ancient world, and the ancient world will forcibly suppress us. 1. As for the formation of the ancient world, we have a guess in the Forbidden Hall, that is to sacrifice countless treasures and forcibly distort a quasi-Dao world that is about to be promoted into the ancient world. It is rumored that some forces in the realm dare not create the Dao world, because they can't stop the Taoist ancestors. If the ancient world is formed, the Taoist ancestors will not be able to enter it. At that time, as long as a large formation is arranged to cover the ancient world, ordinary Taoist ancestors will not be able to break the ancient world. Therefore, the ancient world is the most powerful of many forces. Excellent headquarters location. Moreover, the ancient world can continue to be promoted, and it can be promoted to the ancient world, and the ancient world. Above the ancient world is the realm. Whether it is the ancient world or the Dao world, its final promotion destination is the realm. After the Blood Crystal Daozu said this, many Dao ancestors understood. But they don't understand a little, how did the quasi-Dao world suddenly become the ancient world? I am afraid that the remnants of the realm have sacrificed countless treasures and forced this quasi-Dao world to be promoted to the ancient world. Tianshan Daozu guessed. Many Taoist ancestors thought about it and felt that this possibility was very high. Because of the formation of Taoism, it is not conducive to the power of the domain. It is estimated that many of those domain powerhouses are still sleeping, or their injuries have not yet recovered. Moreover, the rules of the Tao realm are suitable for their realm, and those powerhouses in the divine heaven realm may be restricted in the Tao realm. But the ancient world is different. It is not restricted by the origin of the chaos Tao and is an independent world. In such a world, the powerhouses in the realm would not be disadvantaged. Moreover, when the ancient world was born, the Taoist ancestors could not enter the ancient world, only the true ancestors could enter, which gave hope to the powerhouses in the domain. As long as they are given time, even if the ancient world is promoted to the ancient world, the Taoist ancestors will come, and the powerhouses of the realm will recover or wake up one by one, and they can naturally crush everything. It is conceivable that once the ancient world is formed, it will definitely become the battlefield of the true ancestors. Call the true ancestors and let them enter the ancient world. The Taoist ancestors of the big forces began to communicate to the true ancestors of their own forces. For the true ancestors, this time is definitely a great opportunity, and it is the place where they hope to become Taoist ancestors. Even the transcendent forces such as Forbidden Temple and Daoshan have also been dispatched. I saw that in the chaos, countless true ancestors came and went, one by one gathered outside the quasi-Tao realm, silently waiting for the birth of the ancient realm. In the realm of quasi-Tao, many incarnations of Taoist ancestors have left one after another, and do not stay in the realm of quasi-Tao anymore. They also don't want to leave, but since the ancient world is 10%, their incarnations can still stay in the ancient world, but the price paid is too high, and their strength is suppressed so much that any true ancestor can bully them. As Taoist incarnations, they don't want to be bullied by the true ancestor. Of course, there are still some Taoist incarnations staying inside the ruins, absorbing the benefits of the ruins, and naturally unwilling to leave. Human territory. Yi Tian finished the retreat, and at the moment is observing the changes in the quasi-Tao world. Is this going to be promoted to Tao realm? Yi Tian wondered. Because the promotion was too loud, countless powerhouses of the human race protected the starry sky continents and the worlds to ensure that the weak human race would not fall into the promotion of the quasi-Tao world. Sudden, Yi Tian received the communication from Zushan Daozu, and only then did he understand that the quasi-Tao world forcibly was not promoted to the Tao world, but was promoted to the ancient world. In the ancient world, this is better. If the Tao ancestors come, even if I am promoted to the true ancestor, I am afraid that I will not be the opponent of those powerful Tao ancestors. Yi Tian muttered. Therefore, this situation is more favorable to him now, but those Taoist ancestors will not be happy. It took a long time for the quasi-Tao world to be promoted to the ancient world. For 100 years, the entire quasi-Tao world was in a state of promotion. 100 years later, the entire Quandao realm has grown many times larger. No, it should now be called the ancient realm. In the dark, all living beings know the name of this ancient world. Mysterious ancient world. The ancient world does not need to be recognized by the origin of the chaos Tao, but the ancient world also has its own will, and will naturally form its own name of the ancient world. The Xuanxu ancient realm was 100 times larger than the previous quasi-Tao realm, and the world rules were even more powerful. Yi Tian can feel a unique rule of the ancient world of Xuanxu, which protects the ancient world and blocks the power of the source of chaos Tao. Sudden, the power of a rule turned into a huge list, suspended in the void, and immediately this power of rules spread throughout the ancient Xuanxu world, affecting everyone in the ancient Xuanxu world, living beings. Suddenly, everyone understood a special rule. Ancient records. Any record left in the ancient world of Xuanxu that others cannot surpass in a short period of time can be listed on the Xuanxu list. This is not only an honor, but also an opportunity. Anyone who leaves a record and engraves the mystery list can be blessed by the ancient world. During the blessing period, both the speed of cultivation and the understanding have reached an unimaginable degree of increase. Ancient world records. Everyone went crazy and began to choose to break through to the real ancestor realm. Of course, if you break through to the real ancestor realm, if you are the first to break through, you will become the first real ancestor of the ancient world of Xuanxu, which should hopefully make a name on the Xuanxu list. After all, the first is always the first, and no matter how others break through, it is the second and third. Therefore, this record should be counted as one. Yi Tian didn't waste time either, hurrying to start breaking through. Chapter 1059 Yi Tian and #039, S3 Ancient World Records. Open black lens bracket third update close black lens bracket. At the same time, a large number of half-step true ancestors were attacking the true ancestor realm, and they saw countless breaths penetrating the void, causing the entire mysterious ancient world to produce wonders one by one. Everyone is hurrying to hit the true ancestor level and take this opportunity. But Yi Tian realized that he could not become the first true ancestor not long after he hit the real ancestor realm. Without him, just because he has accumulated too deep, this is a good thing, but he has to complete the transformation of the half-step true ancestor and true ancestor level, and completely enter the realm of the great Tao. It will undoubtedly take longer, so there is no way to become the first true ancestor. However, he doesn't care anymore. Just when everyone was attacking the real ancestor realm, countless real ancestors in the chaos ripped apart the barriers of the ancient world of Xuanxu and descended to the ancient world of Xuanxu. At the same time, strange phenomena appeared in various places in the Xuanxu ancient realm. One after another relic fragments were born, and among these relics, there was a real ancestor's breath, and some of the real ancestor's breath was extremely terrifying, as if they were much stronger than many real ancestors. However, in terms of quantity, these true ancestors are still unable to compare with the true ancestors in chaos. After all, the fragments of the realm passed through the dark forbidden area, and I don't know how many powerhouses fell. In addition, in the battle of the realm, the true ancestors did not know how many died in the battle, so it is naturally impossible for the remaining true ancestors to be too many. No matter how weak Yi Tian's realm is, it is only a lot less at the Dao ancestor level, and the number of true ancestors will not be lacking. These ruins were born, but no one dared to enter. After all, the aura of the true ancestors in the ruins was not concealed at all, just warning them. But in the end, the true ancestor broke into the ruins. A top true ancestor at the peak of the avenue broke into a small ruin where only one true ancestor's breath leaked. In his opinion, his own strength is enough to wipe out this ruin. However, just after he entered this ruin, the aura of a true ancestor was exposed. Immediately, a finger came across the void, directly crushing the body of his true ancestor, and the soul was completely shattered, falling on the spot. A top true ancestor was instantly killed. This battle also shocked many people. After all, the top true ancestor is not weak. If the true ancestor who can kill the first layer Tiandao ancestor is placed on the first step, then the true ancestor who can barely compete with the ordinary first layer Tiandao ancestor can be regarded as the second step, but the top true ancestor just now can be regarded as the third step, and it is definitely not weak. But such a top true ancestor was killed in seconds, which is enough to prove that the true ancestor who shot is definitely the powerhouse of the first step. For a while, many true ancestors kept a low profile and stopped breaking into those ruins without knowing the intelligence. These half-step true ancestors, Yi Tian, did not have time to pay attention to the battle between the true ancestors, and they were still trying to attack the true ancestor realm. Half a month passed. On this day, a half-step true ancestor successfully reached the true ancestor realm and became the first newly born true ancestor in the ancient world. However, the true ancestor was disappointed, and he did not enter the record. Not on the record. Yi Tian was also a little surprised, but soon had a guess. It should be because the Xuanxu ancient realm itself has a true ancestor, so breaking through the true ancestor is not a record. Yi Tian guessed. This can also prove that creating a record is not so easy, otherwise the ancient world record will not be called a real big opportunity. But soon, everyone was dumbfounded. The Xuanxu list shines brightly, and a name appears on it. Records in the ancient world, refining records. Xiao Yuan, the true ancestor of Yuan Lian, created Dao-level refining techniques and created records in the mysterious ancient world. The true ancestor of Yuan Lian. Who this person is, many people are very curious. After some calculations from the true ancestor, the identity of the true ancestor of Yuan Lian was finally known. One of the true inheritances of the refining item peak of the upper three heavens wind and cloud sect. Then, an ancient world record was born, but it was basically created by the true ancestors of those forces in the domain, which made the major forces hit hard. It seems that the forces in these realms are very familiar with the ancient world and understand the records of the ancient world. This is how they set records one by one in a short period of time, but if they want to break their records at their original level, I am afraid it is very difficult. Yi Tian muttered. Yi Tian took a closer look, and the records created by these true ancestors included all aspects, almost involving every aspect of cultivation. Among them, the true ancestor actually created a Taoist technique, which is very powerful. But Yi Tian didn't believe that the other party created a Tao technique in an instant. It must be that this Tao technique was almost created, and when the ancient world was born, the last step would be completed immediately. This also shows a problem. Those who go to the third heaven are probably connected to each other, and they planned to create the ancient world long ago, otherwise it would be impossible to prepare so much, and it would not be possible to create so many ancient world records all at once. This must be a pre-prepared plan. Ask for flowers. Yi Tian looked at the records of alchemy, weapon refinement, spell records. There was no hope of breaking in his heart. It was not that his talent was not good, but that this thing required long years of research, not that the talent was good. There are also some speed records, defense records, attack records, etc., but these are records that require the most elite ancestors to break. It seems that in a short time, I can't break a record. Yi Tian thought to himself. Immediately, he stopped thinking about these things, and rushed to the real ancestor realm with peace of mind, striving to complete the transformation as soon as possible and become a real ancestor. Another month has passed. On this day, Yi Tian's transformation finally ended. He became a true ancestor. At this moment, a name appeared on the Xuanxu list. Records of the Ancient World. Yi Tian created the record of the strongest new true ancestor in the ancient world of Xuanxu. Records of the Ancient World. Yi Tian created a record of the power of the strongest ancestor in the ancient world of Xuanxu. Records of the Ancient World. Yi Tian created the record of the strongest talent in the ancient world of Xuanxu. A total of 3 talents, it simply broke people's cognition. The ancient world records only record the records of the true ancestor, so Yi Tian will only have records after he becomes the true ancestor, otherwise his strongest talent record would have been on the mystery list long ago when he was a half-step true ancestor. With the 3 records in his body, Yi Tian felt very clearly. The blessing of the ancient world of Xuanxu is coming. At this moment, Yi Tian clearly felt that his comprehension had obtained a very exaggerated increase. Although it was not as effective as taking the Heavenly Soul Pill, it had at least 1/10 the effect of the Heavenly Soul Pill. What is this concept? This means that Yi Tian is slamming a treasure equivalent to 1/10 of the effect of the Heavenly Soul Pill all the time, and it is always effective, which is even more powerful than the Heavenly Soul Pill. It can even be said that as long as no one breaks Yi Tian's record, his 3 records will always exist, increasing him all the time. At this time, Yi Tian finally understood how important the ancient world record was. Those Taoist ancestors may have underestimated the ancient world. In terms of value, an ancient world is probably far above the Taoist world. No wonder, those upper 3 heaven forces have spent a huge price to force the quasi-Tao world into the ancient world. Yi Tianming Enlightenment. At this time, Yi Tian picked up the records of the 3 ancient worlds, which caused a huge sensation in the ancient world of Xuanxu. Chapter 1060 General Blood Evil and Peak Master Long Li. The strongest new true ancestor. The power of the strongest ancestor. The strongest talent. Many people were stunned by Yi Tian's 3 talents. What kind of evildoer was able to obtain these 3 ancient world records? Some ancient beings who thought their true ancestors were invincible were not convinced. If Wanfa Daozi can only get the strongest new ancestor, I must be convinced. After all, his strength is invincible at the half-step ancestor level. But what is the situation of the strongest ancestor's power and the strongest talent? A newly promoted true ancestor actually got a record of the strongest true ancestor. Could it be that his true ancestor is stronger than our true ancestor? Is this mysterious ancient world record from Wanfa Daozi's family, and he is so partial to him? I'm not convinced. Countless true ancestors are not convinced, but the ancient world records of Xuanxu will not listen to their opinions. If they can't break Yi Tian's record, then these 3 records will always exist on the Xuanxu list for future generations to look up to. At the same time, the true ancestors of the 3-layered power were also shocked by Yi Tian's 3 records. They did not suspect that the ancient world records were falsified, because it was not, 3 or 4, to be false, even if the invincible Daozu could destroy the ancient world, but there was no way to change the rules of the ancient world, and there was no way to cheat. For a while, they were extremely concerned about Yi Tian, thinking that Yi Tian was a formidable enemy. Some people even wanted to kill Yi Tian in advance, so that Yi Tian would not cause trouble for them in the future. But soon, the upper 3rd heaven forces got news that Yi Tian was the peak master of Haifeng Mountain. For a while, the forces of the upper 3 layers of heaven stopped their plan to assassinate Haifeng Mountain. It's not that they are afraid of Haifeng Mountain, but that there is no need to offend Haifeng Mountain. The people of Haifeng Mountain are a bunch of lunatics, and they can do it anytime. If he offends Haifeng Mountain at this time and causes Haifeng Mountain's revenge, then it will not be worth the loss. Moreover, they have no hatred with Yi Tian, and the 2 sides might be able to cooperate in the future, so there is no need to assassinate Yi Tian. Black Wind Mountain Small Realm. In the originally empty small realm, a real ancestor-level powerhouse appeared, and the densely packed real ancestor level gathered here, and a meeting was being opened. The one who presided over the meeting was a general in Haifeng Mountain, named General Zusha, and there were at least 30 generals participating in the meeting. As for the other true ancestors, they were all at the peak master level. As for the general true ancestors, they are not eligible to participate in this meeting. There are many contents of this meeting. One is how high function intervenes in the ancient world, the other is future plans and so on. But soon, they explored a problem. Before the Wind King sent us a message, let us pay attention to a preparatory peak master. This preparatory peak master is an aborigines of the ancient world. I didn't care about this preparatory peak master at first, but now this preparatory peak master has obtained 3 ancient peak masters. World record, definitely a true genius. After General Zusha finished speaking, the other generals and the peak master discussed Etn one after another. The Wanfa Daozi named Etn is already the true ancestor, and should be qualified to inherit the position of the peak master. At present, the number of peak masters is relatively rare, and there is an urgent need to recruit people. Otherwise, how will Black Wind Mountain survive in the next prosperous age? Recover, a general said. Longli Peak Master, you are the leader of Etn. Let him conduct the Peak Master assessment, and by the way, let us reveal the extraordinariness of our Black Wind Mountain, lest he be poached by other upper third heaven forces. Shui Sha the general ordered. I saw a huge figure with an extremely burly stature and a height of 5 meters standing up, and responded, yes, General Zusha. Soon, at the end of the meeting, the generals and Peak Masters left. And Peak Master Long Li used the Peak Master's order to contact Etn. Human territory. Etn sensed that there was a message from the preliminary peak commander, and quickly took out the preliminary peak commander and accepted a message. Etn, I am the leader of Haifeng Mountain's Longli Peak. I was ordered by General Zusha. As your guide of Haifeng Mountain, I will lead you to the Haifeng Mountain Lord's assessment by the way. I wonder if you have time recently. If so, you can enter the Wind King's small realm to discuss in detail. After accepting this message, Etn's expression changed. High function has also been born. He didn't know much about Haifeng Mountain, but he only knew that the strength of Haifeng Mountain was not weaker than that of the upper 3 heavens. If it is about the background, I am afraid that even Daoshan is far inferior to Haifeng Mountain. He is already the preparatory peak master, and he will be the peak master of Haifeng Mountain a step further. But do you want to become a peak master? The preparatory peak master can also leave Haifeng Mountain, but if he becomes the peak master, it is not easy to leave. After pondering for a while, Yi Tian made a decision. Join in. If he wants to go a step further, he must join a big power backer. Although the Zushan lineage is relatively strong, the Zushan Daozu is only a new 4th level Tian Daozu. Haifunction knew that he was a disciple of Zushan's lineage, but he didn't care about it, indicating that Haifunction was willing to let him become the peak master. Moreover, in the realm, many disciples of the upper third heaven forces are often the true heirs or even elders of certain forces. Moreover, Haifunction is not a real sect, but an organization, so which sect he belongs to has little influence on Haifunction. But he still asked Zushan Daozu's opinion. Soon, Zushan Daozu sent a message to let him enter Haifeng Mountain to become the peak master, so that there is more room for improvement in the future, and he will not take detours. If he takes a detour, Yi Tian can become a Taoist ancestor, but it is difficult to go on the road of a domain ancestor. So, Yi Tian sent a message to Peak Master Long Li to meet and discuss with him in the small realm of the Wind King. The small realm of the Wind King was the realm that Yi Tian entered at the beginning. He took the lead in entering this realm, and soon a tall figure came to him. Yi Tian, it's really hard to find you. There are too many spaces in the small realm, and it took a lot of searching to find your space. Let's add some friends, so that if you have contact in the small realm of the Wind King, you can instantly appear in the small realm. The same space, Lord Long Lifeng said. Could it be that the small realm of the King of Wind is more than the space in front of you? Yi Tian asked in doubt. Of course more than that. The Master Long Li explained. A small realm is divided into 10,086 spaces. For example, the space for generals to hold meetings or discuss in detail is definitely not our space. For example, some spaces are used for trading, and some spaces are used for construction. In the city, there will be some true ancestors or even Taoist ancestors, or some spaces are used to store treasures, etc. In short, it is difficult to sense the existence of these spaces without reaching the position of Peak Master. If others want to enter other spaces, they must through a specific teleportation array. As for the space you are in now, it belongs to the abandoned space, or one of the broken spaces. For example, the Wind King has also been severely damaged and needs to be restored slowly, and these spaces also need to be restored slowly. It was so, Yi Tian suddenly realized. Before, he felt that this small realm was a bit low level, but now he realized that he knew too little. Let me introduce myself again. I am the Peak Master Longli of Haifeng Mountain, and I am ranked 32nd among many Peak Masters in the late stage of cultivation. Should be ranked 8th, Long Lifeng said. Yi Tian, the leader of the human race, the true disciple of the Zushan lineage, the early stage of the cultivation base, the Peak Master. Yi Tian also introduced himself. Yi Tian, everyone knows your identity, but you'd better use a backup identity, the identity that only exists in the Black Wind Mountain. Don't use your identity in the outside world. Those of us who have lost our foundation in the domain back then, so you don't care whether your identity is exposed or not, but you are different, you still have a foundation in the outside world. Maybe your backup identity can't be hidden from the top of the 3-layered power, but you only need to hide it from others. You first conduct the Peak Master assessment, and then take a Peak Master name, and then receive a set of Peak Master clothes and a Peak Master mask. Peak Master Long Li reminded. It is good, Yi Tian replied. Peak Master Long Li brought Yi Tian to another space in the small realm of the Wind King, where the special 5.8 doors were used for assessment. Test your cultivation first, this is a necessary procedure. Long Lifeng's main road. Yi Tian simply tested his cultivation and proved that he really possessed the cultivation of the early stage of the Great Tao. Afterwards, the second round of testing was to detect Yi Tian's foundation. If someone forcibly used something that destroyed the foundation to raise to the true ancestor realm, Black Wind Mountain would not charge the true ancestor with little potential. This round of testing was also stress-free for Yi Tian and passed easily. The third round of assessment is combat power. If the true ancestor is not strong enough, even if he is promoted to the late stage of the avenue or even the peak of the avenue, he can't become the Peak Master, but can only become the subordinate of the Peak Master or the general. After all, 100 generals and Peak Masters are strictly independent and unconstrained, with the exception of General Zusha, who was ordered by the Wind King to manage many generals and Peak Masters. Peak Master Long Li listened to the orders of General Zusha, but he did not need to follow the orders of other generals. From this, it can be seen that the rights and treatment of the Peak Master are so good, so the requirements for combat power are also very high. If the combat power is not high, wouldn't everyone be able to become a Peak Master?